I will never look at you.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the school board meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Could I please get a roll call?
Hello.
Here.
Mark Sherwood.
Here.
Donna Manthorn.
Here.
Melissa Kolosik. Paula Kane. Marion Springer and Sean O'Neill.
All right, if everyone can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Schweiss, will you and your students please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Student, staff, and family share. Look at you all.
Mr. Swice, could you make a quick introduction? And I know the place looks a little different this evening.
Yeah, we appreciate your flexibility with this. We're very excited. Our high school players in the music department are going to be putting on the show Hades Town next week. They've been working really hard since early December to put all of this together, and we wanted to take the opportunity, thank you for allowing us to share some of that progress with you. Just so everybody knows too, because of the contract that we have with the company and the copyright for the show, the live stream is actually going to go dark during the actual music, and then we'll come back up for the Q&A and everything afterwards. So.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Stano, how are you, sir?
Thank you for this opportunity to have us perform a little bit of the show and give some context. I will not do a lot of the talking. I think our students are far more eloquent and conscientious than I am. So I just wanted to say thank you for having us. They've put in a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy and effort into this production. You guys will see like the last 2% of the journey. You will not see the 98% that it took us to get there. And we talk about that all the time in school is, the day-to-day, the ins and outs of what it is. At the end of the day, usually we see like a letter grade or we see a score, but very rarely do we see the process that takes us from beginning to middle to ending. What you're going to see in this little segment is we're going to have a little introduction by Cam about kind of the details about being able to see the show. After that, you're going to hear a little bit from Luke, who is going to contextualize a song and play one song for you on guitar that his character Orpheus plays. After that, you're going to hear from another one of our leaders, Candace, who will contextualize another song, Way Down Hades Town. And then after that, we will have Nora give a kind of final word on the importance of the arts in our schools. And then finally, we'll open it up to a Q&A. So thank you so much for having us. Our kids are the best. They're awesome. And you'll see that in this next little 10-minute segment. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Hades Town is a musical based on Greek mythology, focusing on the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, as well as a second story of Hades and Persephone. The music is a combination of folk, jazz, blues, just to tell this ancient story. It's narrated by a god named Hermes, and the audience is guided between the world above and the underworld. Eurydice is drawn to the underworld for safety. Orpheus joins, is then trying to get her back. The story is about love versus fear, hope versus doubt, freedom versus control. Overall, it's about taking risks, holding on to hope, and whether love can overcome hardship. And now I will give it to Luke to give us some explanation on
Todd. I genuinely believe it's the best show we've done in 10 years. Two, Luke learned guitar specifically for that role, to play that part. Not every high schooler you see is going to actually play guitar to that point. And number three, Candace choreographed more than any student choreographer has choreographed for a show. She choreographed 12 songs of the 36 songs in this show. So all of these students have done so much effort, and Nora is going to wrap things up before the Q&A with the importance of the arts.
Thank you so much. As you know, my name is Nora Devine. First of all, I want to start by this. When I first blew the whistle, I loved seeing all of your faces. Goodness gracious, you over there, you were like, whoa! That was very funny. That was very funny. It's a joy to be performing for you here today. It's so amazing that we get to be in this space. But then again, we wouldn't be able to be in this space without the wonderful program that we have here at the high school. The Timberlane Players is a multi-generational group, as you know. We have people who have started it from its conception 39 years ago to people like you and your daughter who have just done it a couple years ago, and then people like us now who are doing Hadestown. The Players is a community filled with passion, with kindness, and with drive. I, in my 4 years of high school, have never known a community like the Players. And the Performing Arts Center is a place where we can all come and work on those aspects of passion, kindness, and community. I'd like to thank you all for coming here today, and I'd like to thank the Performing Arts Center for allowing us to do great things like this. Thank you so much.
Do you guys have any questions or want to ask any of the leaders anything?
Stephanie, the look of disdain, you have it down. It's amazing. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say at this time?
From beginning to end, boy, that was just so much fun. Luke, at the beginning, your voice is so unique and you have such control over it. It's just amazing. You know, all the dancing, it was looked like you had a lot of fun putting that together. And I don't know, I can't wait to see the show. Good job.
Thank you for continuing the tradition of excellence. I had the opportunity to see my daughter in Sweeney and Les Mis, and in college do Hadestown as well. So it's kind of a full circle moment, but again, that was referenced earlier. This is one of the unique aspects of Timberlane and one of our shining stars, and it doesn't happen without people like Mr. C and the way in which he leads with heart and head. But for all of you, the courage it takes to get on that stage, to get in an area like this, which is not conducive to what it is you're trying to do in the art that you're trying to create, the individual efforts and courage that it takes to do this bodes well for your future selves in whatever aspect. So thank you for being part of the Timberlane community. Thank you for being that special shiny star that we've always had for our students, and for just showing up and doing what you do so well continuously. Thank you.
Jack, and then Alyssa.
I just want to point out that we do a lot around here for a lot of folks, and very rarely do people take the time to write a letter to show their appreciation. So I think that's reflects on what kind of kids you are, students, adults, young adults. But this meant a lot to me because we typically don't get things like this. So thank you.
Alyssa.
Keep up the good work.
Coming from someone who was a player many years ago.
What, you won't give the actual number?
25 probably. No matter how, little or much you guys are contributing to this, it's going to stay with you. I didn't do it for very long. I did it a couple of years, but it still sticks with me. And so this is amazing that you guys have so much passion for this, and this will lead you through the rest of your life.
Anybody else?
This is crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
This is the worst. And for you, I would think that I didn't have the courage to do what you guys do. I probably wasn't good enough either, so that doesn't even matter.
A lot of self-deprecation over there.
To come in here in this little fish bowl, I mean that's gonna be worse than the stage. But good for you guys to show us that in this environment, which can't be easy. Yeah, it's just and wonderful, and just thanks for sharing with us. hopefully get a chance to get down there and see you guys. I got involved watching about the time that your daughter was in. My daughter was a violin player in the pit, but so I got to see a lot of good shows. And I didn't have any. I wasn't a theater person at all. And then once I started seeing the Timberlane.
Yep.
And,
It changes you.
Yeah, my daughter stayed. This is a true story. We were touring different schools, different prep schools. I think it was Governors. We went to Governors, and the leader of arts and music took us aside out of the group and said, "I'm from Timberlane. We don't offer your daughter what Timberlane does." Well, that'll save me a bunch of money, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, we made the decision for 4 years at Timberlane for a number of reasons, just academics and the support of the staff and but the arts. And I remember coming to see Project Hope, and I thought you were the MC I ever saw. Yeah. No, not you. Yeah. Well, maybe you next time, but yeah, I saw you years ago. And you're getting younger, which is ridiculous. I don't know how you do. What are you, like 12 now? Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Shauna?
Well, I was not a player because I wasn't brave enough to be on the stage, but I did play in the pit, so I got to at least hear musicals back in the day. But I know a lot of you have a lead role, a lot of you are ensemble folks, but I would love the opportunity to shine bright everyone in this room. Mason, can you guys all please go down the line, introduce yourself, and let us know what year in high school you are and how many years you've been with the players, please. Well done.
I'm Mason. I'm playing Hades. I'm a senior, and this is my second year with the Players.
I'm Gabby. I'm a senior. This is my 4th year with the Players.
I'm Sophia. I'm Persephone. I'm a senior, and this is my 4th year with the Players.
I'm Candace. I'm an ensemble worker. I'm a senior, and this is my 4th year with the Players.
I'm Bella. I'm playing Eurydice, and I'm a sophomore, and this is my 2nd year with the Players.
I'm Cassie. I'm also playing Eurydice. I'm a senior, and this is my 4th year in the Players.
I'm Luke. I'm playing Orpheus. I'm a senior, and this is my 4th year with the Players.
I'm Nora. I'm playing Hermes. This is my senior year, and this is my 4th year with the Players.
I'm Courtney. I'm a senior. I'm playing Persephone, and this is my 4th year.
I'm Ash. I'm a senior. I'm an ensemble worker, and this is my 2nd year in the Players.
I'm Haley. I play Fate 3. I'm a senior, and this is my 4th year with the Players.
I'm Georgia. I'm a sophomore. I'm Fate number 1, and this is my 2nd year with the Players.
One thing, I'm very much looking forward to seeing you guys play on Friday and perform all together Friday night. There are other dates, I think, that are also happening. Cam, could you just remind us when the shows are?
Yes, the shows will be April 9th, 10th, and 11th, all starting at 6:30, and the 11th also has a show at 1.
Wow. Okay.
Busy weekend.
Yeah. Good luck to you guys. Thank you so much for coming here and performing that. We all very enjoyed it. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I asked Justin, I was like, do we need a movie? He's like, they're good. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. It was so good. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Let's do it in this space.
I know, it was so good.
Courage.
All right, so next up on the agenda is approval of the minutes. You've got the public meeting minutes, and then we also have a part of non-public. It's the 19th board meeting minutes. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's actually 2 meeting minutes. It's the organizational and then it's the regular meeting.
You need separate motions.
And you can motion to do both of them if people want to.
Motion to accept the meeting minutes of March 19th, both the organizational and the regular.
Motion by Mary Ann, seconded by Alyssa. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained. Unanimous. Okay, and then we do have one set of
Yes.
non-public.
Make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes for March 19th, 2026.
Motion by Shauna, do I have a second? Seconded by Mark. Anybody else need any more time to read? All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. All right, pass those back, please. Do we have any delegates or individuals? No. All right, could I get a motion to move the 30 minutes of delegates individuals to the end of the meeting, please? So moved. Motion by Shauna, do I have a second?
You do?
Second by Mark. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained. Paul's the only one that voted against. As usual. All right. Student rep. I guess.
Yes, hello. So we'll start with the high school. Juniors just wrapped up their SATs and they'll get their scores back in June. That is also providing our state testing, so that will also go to the state. RoCAPA just had a World's Fair, which was Pacific Islands around, well, it was just Pacific Islands, so RoCAPA students presented their islands with different foods and information. The makeup for the SATs will be Wednesday, April 8th, yes. The quarter ends the 6th of April, Tuesday, the 21st of April. 7 at the PAC is the way Mr. Vaccarezza was explaining it to me was somebody in the community, Chief Justice Ron Roderick, who just has an amazing story about mental health awareness, and he said anyone is welcome, and anyone from the community is welcome to go and see him talk. So
When is that again, Cam?
that is April 21st.
Is it being put out anywhere for?
I'm not sure. But it'll be 7 p.m. at the PAC. So for sports, spring sports for both middle and high school are starting currently. Regular season games will begin the week of April 6th with the girls tennis team competing at Manchester West High School. The rest of the middle school and high school teams will start playing regular season games the week of 4/13. The high school spring athletic awareness night took place Tuesday, March 31st at 6 p.m. at the CAF. Also, 25 Timberlane senior athletes will attend the NHIAA and NHADA Scholar, it's too many letters, Scholar athlete ceremony at the Capitol Center for the Arts in Concord to receive their Scholar Athlete Awards. They will be there with Mr. Vaccarezza and Athletic Director Angelo Fantasia. Congratulations on the prestigious award. Those are the students on the left that have received that. They have recognized student athletes from the 2025 to 2026 National Wrestling Coaches Association Scholar All-Americans. And these students all have a GPA over 3.5 and got their varsity letters and state recognition. Thank you. As for the pack, we have our musical coming up, as you saw. Recently, we just hosted Strings Fest, which had different elementary schools from around the area could come together and play music with different directors. And our orchestra director, Samuel Lyons, was just named New Hampshire Orchestra Director of the Year.
Very
So
nice.
it's pretty cool. Danville, we just had our March SOAR assembly where we recognize each student in each grade level to personify our core values: safety, ownership, ambition, and respect. We also celebrated some students that have had a wonderful job following expectations on the bus. To conclude the assembly, the students got to play a school-wide game where they had to guess which staff member belonged to the baby photo.
Oh.
They had a blast seeing all the teachers just as little kids. And Sandown North just finished up 2 amazing school enrichment clubs, Craft Club and Chess Club. Craft Club ended with a showcase of projects, and Chess Club ended with a tournament. We have started our Girls on the Run spring session. Thank you to the coaches, Allison Yankowskis, Heidi Chaput, Emily Albert, and Jen Kestis. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you so much. A lot of good things going on in the district lately. All right, moving on to current business. The first thing on our agenda is the realignment of the voted 2027 budget. I know that Marianne and Shauna have been working along with Justin, but I believe Justin's going to start with the overview and then they're going to add their input.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks so much, Dean. I appreciate it. So you've got an executive summary in your packet that I hope you had a chance to review. It starts on page 21. I'm going to summarize that, but I do have a graphic up here that's not in your packet, but I think that combines pieces of the packet to make it easy to communicate to the public and the community. But really kind of where we were is that we were looking to identify close to $4 million of reductions from the initial proposed budget of $92 million. As you know, we had a approved budget by the voters that was far less than that. We worked collaboratively over the course of time to identify some of the areas and how we're going to organize ourselves underneath the new dollar amount. What we did here is we've got a breakdown of what was recommended through the budget committee and then what is ultimately being recommended to you tonight from school administration. From the budget committee, they really looked at 21 individualized pieces. They took action on 12 of those pieces. Those 12 actions are up here in the grid next to the term budget committee. And from that, the things that are in green, those areas carry through to recommendations that are before you this evening. The things that are in red, those are areas that did not carry through to recommendations this evening. And when you look into the next phase for recommendation of the school board in that grid, you'll notice 2 blue areas as well. Those are 2 newly identified areas of reductions that we bring before you that the budget committee did not take action on. In all told, the budget committee was looking at 25 positions. 21 of them would require a reduction in force with people. The recommendations in front of you tonight are looking at 13 positions, with 9 of them including a reduction in force for people. So what are we looking at in terms of a total package of reductions? Recommending to you tonight, we've got a recommendation for transportation in that dollar amount for the reduction. We've got phase 4 of the lease. Again, that's moving into fiscal 28 as a reduction in fiscal 27. We're recommending 1 RIF or reduction in force for a tech specialist. We're recommending 1 reduction in force of a middle school assistant principal. We're recommending that dollar amount be reduced from capital. We have a dollar amount from principals and directors. These are folks that are work directly in buildings or in departments, have identified $639,520.90 of further reductions. We're recommending those to you this evening. We're recommending stipends, pulling back on, these are stipends for athletic coaches and also folks involved in music and theater, not reaching the threshold we wanted to reach next year, but still being able to offer every of those activities and still being able to give the folks that are leading them some sort of percentage increase. We're recommending the removal of 3 open and vacant TTA positions for that dollar total. We're recommending the removal of the library assistant paraeducators across the district. That's 4 in the elementary schools, 1 at the middle school, 1 at the high school, for a total of 6 positions. And then we're also recommending a removal of 2 current teaching positions at the elementary school, and that's primarily related to us analyzing the student numbers and where enrollment will sit next year. Further on, you've got a list of motions that if you are satisfied with these recommendations, you want to approve them, there's the ability for you to do so. There's an additional piece I like to be able to raise and speak to before the board enters into some discussion. There's a further action here the board can take. As I look at the reduction of the administrator at the middle school, you've taken a previous action in the previous board meeting of repurposing a family and consumer science position to an in-school support position. I would like to also take an additional open and vacant position and repurpose it to a middle school special education facilitator to begin next year there as well. I want to share a couple of numbers with you. Right now, the middle school is operating about 2.5 times the number of meetings per day that the elementary school does, and about 2 times the meetings per day that the high school is engaged in. So although they've got more kids, it's not to the level of offsetting any of those things. So if we're able to free that special education coordinator, if you remember, the facilitator is there to lead meetings and be the primarily responsible for the LEA determinations, but also the ability to test individual students as part of the identification process and deliver specialized instruction to small groups of students. If we can get that position at the middle school to support that administrative vacancy, it opens up the special education coordinator, who is the administrator there, to do more capacity building in the building, attending meetings with teachers and working about accommodations and modifications in real time, working directly with the TSSU paraeducators and offering trainings for those folks in the coordination there. So I'd like the board to strongly consider that repurposing tonight. I want you to discuss it separately than the same decision kind of moving forward of how best we can organize ourselves to receive kids at the beginning of next year.
Mary Ann, Shauna, I know you two have been working with Justin and the administration over the last couple of weeks. Did you have anything that you'd like to add to this?
Do you want to start?
Go for it.
So one of the things we really prioritize is keeping positions as best as possible, given that the budget was what was approved by the budget committee. There were a number of position reductions in that budget committee recommendation, but some of those we felt were able to be maintained, but that had an impact on things like stipends and the principals and directors contributions. So we asked the administration to really look at those other aspects other than positions.
Thank you. Shauna?
Do I have to say anything? That was great. No, I would just say in addition to that too, one of the other in the blue marked as new areas in terms of principals and directors. So one of the other challenges that we asked the administration to sort of outset to was to go to the principals and directors and challenge them to really look over what they were requesting for budgetary items for the next fiscal year and make additional reductions to what they had already asked for. And from our understanding was that not only did everyone meet the threshold that was required of them, but some of them exceeded it. So it was a really powerful thing to see all of that group of folks come together from directors, technology, and then, principals of each building made additional reductions to help us get to the number that we needed to get to. So it was a colossal project, from this building to additional meetings to meetings outside of the ones we were having at the building level to try and get to this number. So it was done with a lot of forethought, consideration, and not one bit of haste.
Alyssa had her hand up first, and then I'll let Mark.
Can you just go into a little bit more depth what will happen with the removals of some of the RIFs? So in particular, like the tech specialist, what would that look like if that person's gone? And then also the library aides.
The tech specialist is going to reduce kind of our on-hand time about how fast we're able to respond to tech needs in the building. Right now, I think I'd shared with the group that it was less than 24 hours, which is excellent. We'd like to continue to try to get to that mark, but we feel like we're going to be able to stay close to that, but that's going to be the primary impact. In terms of how the libraries can operate, the primary impact there is right now those library paraeducators are able to keep the libraries open pretty much the full day, and kids have open access throughout times. That's going to be something that we're going to be challenged by and need to figure out. I want to be really clear that having a librarian and a paraeducator at this stage of library instruction across New Hampshire is a rarity and a luxury that we have. So this was the place where we had some duplicated efforts.
I'm sorry. Can I just ask a quick follow-up question? Because I've heard a few people mention this and I never thought of it before. So if the aides in the library are going away, will that possibly open up an opportunity? I think this is more at the elementary level that I've heard this at, for volunteers, if they go through the approved volunteer process, that they could volunteer to work in the school libraries to allow them to be open more.
Sounds like a great potential partnership and solution if that's something that we want to move forward. If we value keeping the library open all day, and we can't figure out how to do it with the resources we currently have.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
The largest bucket, principals and directors, looking at that from the outside, 600,000 plus. Can you give us, some sort of perspective as to what that is? Is it books, tables, chairs, computers? I mean, what's kind of the hit list here?
All of those things. And there's some big things I could certainly point out to you. We're going to back off some of the technology in the classrooms in terms of smart boards and those interactive pieces. We're not going to eliminate it. We're just not going to go as far as we wanted to next year. There's a large thing we've been talking through about the safetyness of the intercom system on campus and where that is. We've talked about it through safety committee. We came to the point where we told ourselves it's not broken right now, the current one we have. This could be something that we could also rationalize putting out to warrant. It's on the main campus. It impacts all of our folks. And I think we've clearly heard from voters that they want some more direct impact and power and voice over some of the larger purchases. So that's something we could consider moving forward. Some of the other things that we're talking about is removing and backing off again on some of the field trips, things that we had reinstated in terms of transportation. Facility-wise, we're backing off some painting cycles through the buildings. This will be the second year in a row that we're going to be doing that. We're also backing off on some of the repair cycles in terms of field replacements and things on the grounds as well. In the music department, we're backing off of repairs to equipment. So trying to string out what we have a little bit further and also backing off on the purchase of new equipment this year.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Don, one last thing. All total, there was about, a little less than 90 items, individual line items that group identified. Some as small as $100 and some as large as tens of thousands of dollars.
Go ahead.
Follow up on that conversation. I think that my experience over time was that every time we got faced with that type of a problem, it just meant that a year later we had twice, the issues that we had to straighten out. So it's a temporary fix when you don't repair things, don't replace things, you don't paint things, what you're doing is creating a worse problem that costs you more later. So don't consider that a long-term solution. That's an immediate, addressing of a crisis. The other piece I have a question about is with the middle school and the administrative position, does that change the structure of how you do things with teams and how you run teams and who's in charge?
It'll absolutely change the model that's there right now. Right now, the model is, and has been for some time, the administrators and the counselors loop with students. So they welcome them as a 6th grade team and they exit them as an 8th grade team. We just are not going to simply have the number of bodies to be able to do that specific model anymore.
All right, so you're basically, dividing that responsibility over other administrators.
We're going to talk as an administrative team and see how we can depend upon the resources that are on this campus in terms of support in the middle school.
Still be a team organized group, 6, 7, 8 have dedicated teachers and whatnot to the grade. There's no middle school turned into a junior high school thing going on.
No. There are no plans to do that.
All right.
No.
And just to add more forcefully, not on my watch, we're not going to back away from being a middle school.
Jack.
Yeah, well, this is an awful lot of changes from conceptually where the budget committee started, where we drove through and represented certain things at deliberative session. I personally think this should be dedicated by workshop. I do, because there's a lot of floating information. Let me just give you a couple things. I heard you mention the intercom system, which is considered a safety issue. That maybe that's something we would put out the warrant. I've been pretty consistent over the last 20 years that if it's a life safety issue, I'm not gonna roll the dice in a warrant. That's gonna go in the budget because you never know what the atmosphere is, and I'm not gonna gamble with kids' lives. So that's one. The other piece of, I think, low-hanging fruit is the stipends. We have a lot of people just volunteering and showing up for free. And then a lot of those people are working for like $2. If you broke down the amount of hours they put into it, they're working for $2 or $3 an hour. And they just need to be treated better because they are just as much of the personnel part of the staff as anybody else. So again, we tend to go towards, do we have the total amount of the facilities that were moved around? You said that, did I misunderstand that there were additional facilities, a reduction in facilities?
You've got a capital reduction of 1.250. And then you've got additional facilities things, Jack, that are in the principals and directors.
I know we cut it by like 1.6, right? I'm just saying, how much more have we taken out of that bucket?
We're reducing capital by 1.250 next year. And then there's some removal from facilities that I could total here for you very quickly.
I just think this deserves a broader conversation amongst all of us. I mean, this is one of the most important things that we do here.
So that was kind of the point of why Mary Ann and Sean.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the board. These are decisions of the board.
Hold on.
No, I have the floor. Can I just finish?
No, because
No.
Okay. Well, you can once you listen to me.
That's not how it works, but go ahead, Madam Chair.
Listen to Mama Jack.
It was asked that any board member could meet with the superintendent and his team to talk about these.
So you understand, this is, when I say I think it should be a workshop, it's because it's a discussion, how we exchange ideas amongst the board. It is a board decision, and that would give us ample time to kind of ferret out some of these things. Who knows if 3 of us feel one way about something and 4 of us feel some way about something else. This is like one of the most important things we do. And because we get to realign things after the budget committee gets their hands on it, and it's presented to the legislative body, and now we've got to make some final decisions. And yes, we had 2 or 3 days to come. I was too busy this week. I had too many buckets in my.
This has been going on for a couple weeks. It's not been just this week, Jack.
You know what, Katie? This should be a board discussion. That's just my opinion. You guys can agree with it or don't have to agree with it. Okay? We're cutting did I understand that correctly? Another $1.2 million. People who have been working for free for a sandwich maybe or a slice of pizza need to be treated better. Okay? My other concern is the library. That's kind of a concern of mine. I would think that should be discussed amongst the board members. I think some of that probably isn't appropriate to be discussed publicly. That could be, something else where we could roll that workshop into a non-public if that's possible. I don't know structurally if that's possible. So we could have those discussions, how the district and the monies are best served. That's just this is an awful lot to swallow. And yes, I could have come down here this week, but I just plain old didn't have the time. I thought I would and something came up. So
That's okay.
it's
And
that
I see
simple.
Sean and Mary Ann, but it was advertised that, Jack,
I
listen.
think it should be a board discussion,
So
not
it
individual
was.
discussions.
So
You don't get to pick us off one at a time.
nobody's picking
Sorry.
anybody
Yeah,
off.
oh, yes, you are.
Okay. It was told that any board member who wanted to be a part of this decision to come in to work. They did. They also told that if anybody had any questions between now and then to contact Mary Ann and Shauna. Did anybody contact you guys?
A few.
Did anyone contact you? Okay. So there was ample opportunity. When do we have to have this finalized by? What's the date?
We're past the date of recommendation right now, but
we got the.
This is not a
We had to ask
rush,
for an
and I also want to reiterate, this is not a decision. This is a recommendation to the board tonight.
So you don't see this is a serious question. You don't see the merit in having a group discussion
That's what we're
amongst
doing
the.
tonight.
But no, you.
That's what we're doing tonight.
Really? You ready to
Yes.
stay here and roll this thing out? Okay, let's get more details then. I wanna hear what our plan is to keep these people that aren't getting paid anything, or those people that are making $1 or $2 an hour. You know, obviously, we don't feel they're very important, do we?
Point of clarification here, just you seem to be focusing, and I just want to make certain that I'm understanding this, on the cut to the stipend. So we know that these
No, I'm
folks.
not, no, this is a broader thing for me, Mark. It's the capital line, it's the, oh, we can put that out to warrant next year. I don't remember any of us discussing putting a safety item out to warrant. These are just things that are coming up as we have the discussion, okay, that I'm questioning. The library, getting rid of all the paras. Is there a better mousetrap there? That's maybe a discussion we have in a non-public, maybe not. But I've been approached by people on this, so that's the broader discussion I want to have in the exchange of ideas, that's all.
Sean, and then I believe Mary Ann wants to.
But I would say some of the stuff that I think we're arguing about, we're discussing, let's say, is really a moot point, because this board can then turn around and transfer into it, later on. So what are we arguing for? We're even debating this. If we want to have a strong detail about something, for example, the point that you brought up, Jack, about something that you feel is safety, and we just say, well, we're gonna put it out to warrant, we're all like that, comes back to this table, and we discuss it until, the horse is dead. And that's the way it should be. But I do believe that this is where the business of this stuff, and I do understand your point, Jack, is that we should be able to have the opportunities to do that. And we did apparently, and some people weren't able to capitalize it, and I do understand that. And everybody else has a lot of stuff going on in their lives, and we try to give as much time as we can. But I would definitely like to see more discussions happen here and not at 2:00 in the SAU office. Here.
Mary Ann.
Just a couple things, to your point about capital, the reduction on the capital line is actually now less than what the budget committee had recommended back in December. So actually some money was restored to capital through this process. And in terms of the stipends, that is something that was not discussed by the budget committee and is on the table, but those amounts are about the same.
So when you say monies, I thought 1.6 million was, did we leave it at 1.6?
We left the budget committee recommended leaving 600,000 in the capital line and taking out 1.3 million. And we brought it down to 1.250. So about $50,000 got put back in the CIP line from what the budget committee had recommended.
I mean, was there a specific reason for that? I mean, was it for a specific item?
Just recognizing that we lost so much of the capital that if we had any wiggle room, we were going to put it back into the capital.
Because if I'm not mistaken, those items that they took out were big ticket items. I don't recollect off the top. The only thing I think that may not be a big ticket item was the cabinets, which at Pollard.
I think that's all that was left in the CIP line from the budget committee's recommendation. The regular ed paras at the library, those were part of what the budget committee had recommended. Instead of 10 regular ed paras being reduced, it's only 6 now.
Yeah, I almost need for me to visualize this and for me to, I need an org chart. So I'm in desperate need of an org chart. I've always asked for one. I think one time we got a list, but like a flow chart, a regular typical org chart.
Make a motion then.
Well, let's get through this and then I'll make a motion for the org chart if that need be.
Go ahead.
So just to clarify about the library still exists because the librarians are in there. So the library services to the children in the district will still be provided. It's just that they will not have a paraprofessional to support them.
I understand that, Shauna.
Right? So, but in that regard, that particular piece, I don't know what you mean in terms of an org chart. Were you talking about that piece specifically?
I'm talking about.
Because we did ask some of those questions, just so you know, so maybe we can clarify for you.
I'm not questioning what you guys did at all.
Offering to share information if I know the question.
But one of my responsibilities as a guy who ran something that was clearly production management 101 was understanding my workers, what the ratio of bricklayers to laborers were gonna be, and understanding the best way to organize getting the work done, right? And the most efficient and effective way of getting it done. A lot of this I can't talk about right here in the public, but I would love to in a non-public, and I'm sure you can all appreciate that, so.
Can I address that? So there was a lot of discussion about that, in terms of if we did this, what would that look like in real time, in reality, in terms of organization? And there were lots of ideas from the admin team on how they would facilitate those things. I think you're right, it's probably not a public conversation, but I know that they would be readily able to answer those questions for sure.
And I'm asking these things respectfully.
Absolutely, no, of course, but I'm just saying, like, just so you know, we did ask those questions and they were, I felt, answered very high level, very in-depth information that at least helped us come to these buckets.
It was probably 6 to 8 months ago when we were discussing things and we realized that the budget was going to be considerably leaner than some would think optimal. And we realized that that was going to be resulting in some job cuts. And we did have discussions both public and in non-public.
I was there.
Yeah, and I was actually the person that during our combined meeting, after those discussions and deliberations and speaking with some of the players, made that motion for those library aides after the discussion that we had. A motion I never thought that I would be making. But you know, there comes a squeeze point, and that was the best of the bad solutions. And so those discussions were had. And again, these are, as Mr. pointed out, these are the recommendations. We can come back and revisit them. Being on safety committee, the idea, the audio systems, the speaker system, that causes me some concern as well. However, it is not broken at this stage. It's certainly suboptimal, and it's a big ticket item. The public has said, hey, we want more involvement. This is one way to do it, to put it on warrant.
I just want to say out loud for the people watching and everything else, and just for the record, we don't have people working for $2 an hour. Like that's not, we don't have that. That's not, somebody's gonna take that, because you said it multiple times. Nobody's working for $2 an hour and a piece of pizza. I don't, like, these are volunteers, right?
No. I'm talking, what I'm saying, Paul, is, maybe I didn't articulate it properly. For the amount of hours one of these people put in.
Talk about the folks getting stipends for the music, the arts, athletics.
Athletics, like a coach, right? I mean, they work 6 days a week, probably 5-6 hours a day, they get X. Then we do have a number of people that are getting paid nothing, or they work for a slice of pizza. I would like this,
volunteering to do this?
In a way.
Well, yes or no?
Well, I guess.
I just want to make it clear, we're not paying anybody $2 an hour to do a job.
No, the coaches, if you break down actually what a coach or an assistant coach gets and divide it by the amount of hours they work.
I coached for free for years. I did it. I loved it. It was great.
That's why they do it, because they love it.
I don't eat pizza. Right?
I'm just saying that I don't think it's ethically right to just whack that without even I just.
Yeah, it's just a recommendation at this point.
It's
like, and then the other thing too is from I
Shauna
think
and
you just
Marianne.
covered just again, I'm not picking on you. I'm saying.
No, go ahead.
We're also let's not create a scare. We got an intercom system and a paging system that works.
Yes.
Like this would be an upgrade. And just like there's rooms in my house I want to do a bunch of work to, and a bathroom I'd like to redo. I got a budget and I pick and choose the things that I can do. And so we're in a time now, not here, everywhere in New Hampshire. You can go on anybody's page. Doesn't matter where you are. You can go to Goffstown. You can go to, God forbid you live in whatever that town is that's doing crazy. Deerfield is another one. Like we got towns all over the place that are that aren't having the mature discussions we're having at Timberlane and really watching. And because of your efforts and everybody's efforts, I think these are recommendations. We can move stuff and make recommendations and move monies and budgets if we think something's proper. But I think the work you guys did was great. I think we had the opportunity to chime in if we wanted to, and you still do. Like we got a whole year here.
I think the work is good. I don't have a problem with that. But I guess we sell it one way and then we kind of do something other than that. And I understand we need to have that flexibility to do that. But if we sell something and it goes in the budget as a safety issue, and then we're saying, well, we can put it out to warrant, I just want everybody to know that this thing is well thought out. Well, and I don't question the time, Mary Ann and Shauna, you put into this. I'm just saying that when we get to this level of breakdown, we get to, we're making a lot of staff decisions here.
New recommendations. These are mandations.
But the recommendation, if we vote on the recommendation, it becomes.
Oh yeah, we can vote against it too.
Shauna and Marianne.
I think we're probably gonna say the same thing. Go ahead, Sean.
I just wanna clarify the stipends piece of it is, so nobody is losing their stipend?
Oh, I
All of
understand.
those, okay, just to be clear, but there was, our understanding is that there's been, stipends have been static for a
Can I
while.
provide the
Yes,
specific
please,
information?
yes.
When I arrived here, statics were stipend for over a decade in those areas.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
We made movement in those two areas to build toward 100%, what we identified as 100% marker over the course of 2 years. This year got us to the 100% marker. We're backing off to 75%. So these are folks that will get a percent increase from the job that they did that last year. We still want to honor that. We just made a decision that this is not the year to move fully to that thing. But these folks have gotten 2 consecutive years of stipend increases after a decade of nothing.
Thank you. And again, these are recommendations. These are recommendations that board members have put into SAU. We are the board though, we have final say. If you decide not to do one of these, that's fine, but understand the money has to come from somewhere else. So where is it? This is the recommendations board members have put input into it. There's been many hours into it, but ultimately we are the board. We get to decide on what that is.
And could I just also add, that also allows us the timeliness to organize and start planning in these directions, right? So once the board can make decisions, we can begin to implement that on our side. If there aren't decisions tonight, that implementation and the planning, we still don't know what we would need to organize because we don't know the pieces we have yet. So that is a role, that's something I want to point out tonight. It assists us in implementing a vision for the district.
So Justin, relative to that, explain to me when some of those staffing decisions, some of these decisions would be too late. I don't want to box you guys into a corner either, but what is it? It's April. When do you start rolling on this stuff for that following year?
Contracts are coming very soon. I've met with all of these individuals, recommended for a reduction in force tonight, and informed them of what my recommendation was going to be for you this evening. I've also directed them to other positions in the district that they are qualified to be approving to work in. The feedback is awesome. We got a lot of really good people here that want to stay and continue to do really good work for kids. So it's not so much, Jack, that I'm concerned about missing a timeline or anything. It's about just the certainty of what do we look like so we can start planning. We're living in 2 school years right now. We're here and we're also next year. And we want to start to organize for next year in a way that's meaningful for people. And people need to know where they're going to be. And I would close by saying, this is our best thinking presented to you this evening.
My heart goes out to a lot of the rest of the state when I think about what we're dealing with here, knowing that we're, as a district, like the 13th highest value of homes in the state as a district. You know, our 4 towns relative to a lot of the state are doing very well, all of them. And when you put that in perspective, you look at what's happening in Concord or Merrimack or all over the place. You say, something's really wrong. Not just where we see it locally, but in our state. And the way we're doing it is not working. If we're cutting things that we think we have tremendous value, offering less of a product than we're used to, right? And getting upset about how our students are doing, and worrying about our facilities not being good enough, strong enough to last. Something is dreadfully missing in the equation. And I think that when we talk kind of globally about call your, state reps and, let Concord know what's going on, it's got to happen. And school boards are starting to show up on lists of people going to the state and making some noise. I see a couple people on our board have done that. and I'm proud of them. And I think that we should all be willing to make statements, speak to the people, our governor, our senators, say, help us, you're killing us. You're a part of the problem. So.
Marianne and Shauna, you are most involved with this process representing the school board. Are you comfortable with these recommendations after the discussions and asking the questions and getting questions from other school board members?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. In that case, I think we should probably move on. We can certainly discuss further, but I trust your opinions, and I've been able to weigh in and ask questions to get the information I needed.
Let's start making motions.
Make a motion to eliminate one technology specialist position effective June 30th, 2026 in order to meet the fiscal year 27 voted budget approved by the voters.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Shauna. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained. Jack is the only one abstaining. Everybody voted yes, Jack abstained.
I'd like to make a motion to eliminate one assistant principal position at the middle school effective June 30th, 2026 in order to meet the fiscal year 27 voted budget approved by voters.
Second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Shauna. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained. Everybody said yes except for Dawn, who opposed, and Jack abstained. Reader's back on.
I'd like to make a motion to eliminate two open and vacant teaching positions effective June 30th, 2026 in order to meet the fiscal year 27 voted budget approved by voters.
Motion made by Mark. Marianne, do you second that? Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous.
Could you read that?
Yep.
Make a motion to eliminate 6 regular education paraeducator library assistant positions effective June 30th, 2026 in order to meet the FY 27 voted budget approved by voters.
Motion by Shauna, do I have a second? Second by Marianne, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstain.
I'm sorry.
Are you
Which one are
for-
you, Jack?
What are you?
I'm opposed.
All right, Jack's the
I'm
only one that
sorry.
opposed, everybody else said yes.
Make a motion to eliminate 2 elementary teaching positions effective June 30th, 2026 in order to adjust to elementary projected student enrollment and meet the fiscal year 27 voted budget approved by voters.
Motion by Shauna, do I have a second? Seconded by Mark, any discussion? Yep, Jack?
So we're gonna eliminate 2 grade school teachers, 2 elementary school teachers. And there's no place where they would, we saw that team teaching, it was a little bit different model. These are some of the, how I would want to have dug into this a little bit, saying where could they assist anywhere, like maybe have 2 floating teachers. Because we always talk about our shortage of teachers, our need to raise literacy and raise math. I don't know where they're coming from, I don't know. I know they were based on the numbers, right? But I can't believe that these are some of my struggles.
Could we provide some clarifications to where those 2 positions are and where the NASDAQ or the projection numbers are that allowed you to come to this
The
recommendation?
school district can meet its class size obligations by policy with reducing 2 teachers. Would I like them to stay? Of course. I would like to add 20 more people or 50 more people. Of course, we could design ways these people could produce and do good work for kids. But by class size, there's not a need to do that. And I think the prudent and responsible thing to do as a district is when there's a moment to be able to do some things by policy or by attrition, you do it. Or else you're in a position 5 or 6 down the road that you may have a bloated staff roster because you were not pruning it as enrollment was declining.
Dawn and then Jack.
Does it involve, is it possible because you're able to move kids from one school to another, or is it all just strictly?
I don't anticipate having to move any students between schools.
Yeah, okay.
Do we know what the anticipated average class size would be before and after this cut?
It would just keep our policy now.
The
Nothing would-
enrollment projection that you received, the first one you brought this year, had, I can pull that up from the last packet, but it broke down by school and grade level at the elementary level, how many sections and what that average would be in those sections. I can't say that right now, but they all fall under policy size with there were, I believe, 2 pressure points that Mrs. Kanotis identified for all of you.
Yep.
That will come back to you again at the next meeting, but they all fall under policy size.
So nothing changed. Jack?
So here's my thought process on this. We added 50,000 to capital. I can't believe I'm saying this. But we had 50,000 to capital. I don't know how much each one of those positions total, but I would much rather have a teacher than the $50,000 addition to the capital line, and have a teacher floating around assisting other teachers where those students may need some additional help. That's just the way my brain works, and I just, if I had to make a choice, that's the way I would sway.
Shauna?
So we actually kind of floated that around, like, if we didn't need these particular positions directly in a classroom and we can meet class size, like, what would that look like? And so many ideas came about, but really you have how many buildings have that need, and how do you choose when you have 1 or 2 people? Equity becomes an issue because you have 2 people across 7 buildings and they all have need. It just became hard to conceptualize how you would take those 2 people and divide them, are they at Pollard for 30 minutes, if 2 hours and 30 minutes and at Danville for an hour and 45 minutes, and like, how do you make that work? And it just didn't seem like it was gonna be a reasonable or rational thing to do.
For my considerations, our class size by policy are smaller than the state minimum class size recommendations. So we're already trying to maintain appropriate class sizes at the elementary level. And I've seen a lot of information across the state of New Hampshire about enrollment declining, but costs stay the same. This is an example where we looked at the elementary level and said, the current enrollment doesn't support the number of positions that we have. And I don't ever want to lose teachers, but it's a cost benefit analysis.
The third tier of that, though, the other consideration, should I say, is test scoring, and where we can give that additional help to where those teachers, where those students need that additional help. Shauna, to your point, I would just say, where is the greatest need, and point that teacher in that direction. I'm not an educator. I'm not second guessing this, but my experience is if all our kids were clicking on all cylinders and everything was, if this was a perfect world, yeah, I would agree. I would totally agree with you, Marianne, totally. But it isn't a perfect world right now, and our job here is to get those proficiency rates up, to get those grade levels up. And I just, in my heart of hearts, I think we could use that resource more than $50,000 worth of capital. Just me. I'd rather have you out there teaching kids than the cabinets.
Yeah, Sean?
No, I have to actually commend the superintendent on the prior comment. It's addressing the problem now versus kicking the can down the road, because that's exactly what you're gonna have down in here, is you're gonna have labor staff that's bloated, and then you gotta make a corrective action, and it's gonna be a lot worse in that. So by addressing the immediate problem is a better implementation, in my opinion.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on it? All right. All those in favor? Opposed? And abstain. Jackson, one abstained. All right.
Make a motion to approve the recommended reductions to transportation, phase 4 of the lease, and the principals and directors itemized cuts to the schools and departments in order to meet the fiscal year 2027 voted budget approved by the voters.
Second.
Motion by Shauna, seconded by Mark. Any discussion on this motion? Yeah, go ahead.
Could you please explain why anything in here relative to phase 4 of the lease, or anything relative to the lease? This is the operating budget. The lease is sitting outside of the operating budget and deals with its own thing, because that was its own separate warrant article. So
Not outside of the operating budget.
why not?
No, it is absolutely in the operating budget. I think there's some misnomer, Sean, about what the district could appropriate year to year and whether it was the initial amount of the warrant a year to year or if it had some discretion to change that amount over years. The district certainly has the amount to change that in discretion over years based upon what it needs. It just can't go beyond what was approved by voters that year. So what the budget committee, what we had recommended to them and they had approved that is that there's a payment when that becomes due. This is something we're entering in. We're going to continue with the work, but we are just going to be, someone talked about kicking the can down the road. We're going to move that payment from fiscal 27 to fiscal 28 to create some space for us to be able to operate this year. So it's a.
So wait, how are you gonna end up doing that? Because the warrant article was specific enough, 20-year duration, this amount per year. So if you're trying to move stuff around.
No, the district has the ability, if the lease payment next year, say it was $1 million, all phases combined, that's what we could appropriate from voters. We wouldn't want to appropriate $2 million from the voters. We wouldn't want to take more than what the payment.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that part of it, yes. You haven't tapped into that amount to warrant such a payment.
Correct. Even with this payment, with the other pieces where we still need to fall below that threshold of the original amount on the warrant. But it doesn't require the district to raise and appropriate that every year. We're not locked into that.
Well, what are you locked in with the warrant article, the 20-year duration?
We're locked into the threshold that we cannot surpass it, and we're locked into the duration.
The duration being 20 years. And then the dollar amount, which is the total, correct?
Can't exceed an annual payment of X.
Okay. So you can, and now it's the 1.9 million, I believe, if I roughly.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No.
So that, I want to be clear, that work continues. The payment for that work is just moved into the next fiscal year.
Okay.
Ray, did I get that right?
Yeah, I was in the back.
Excellent.
Plausible deniability.
Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess this may be a good time to bring this up. Big paper shortage on the planet, right? When you talk about principals and directors itemized cuts, it's kind of what we've been seeing out there in the public purview. This is kind of what we're talking about, correct?
In this
Well,
line
not
are
specific to paper,
are
but
absolutely supplies.
right. Okay, so just for those people out there in TV land, there isn't a paper shortage, there's just a shortage of money. And you've been doing a good job of putting the brakes on our spending. And it's gotta come from somewhere. So, there's kind of a spending freeze and one of the things is less product and less paper and, cause I got plenty of paper to sell you if you.
Which we hope Jack encourages folks, as we all are, about looking at things and doing things differently.
But thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstain. Jack abstains. All right. So the other part of this was looking at possibly repurposing a position,
Repurposing
correct?
the position, it's the last paragraph there, and it's just titled, "What further action could the board take?" And I just see it as comprehensively supporting the middle school, as we're gonna be losing a key piece there. And also building the capacity that we had begun here in this board 2 years ago, when we began a special education facility into the district to serve in a very specific role.
Go ahead, listen.
What is the specific position that we're repurposing?
It's an open and vacant position.
Is that the
But
CC
do we-
1105?
Yes.
Is there a specific title to that position?
It's either an elementary teaching position or it's a high school teaching position,
And it's
but it's a position that has not been filled for over 2 years.
Okay, that was my
And
next
we haven't
question.
advertised for it over the course of this year.
Don, go ahead.
Is there any attrition, anybody, any word on where you're gonna be with resignations and people leaving?
All of those things that we've received so far have been kind of calculated into these equations here.
Any projections on that? Like you project into those numbers?
I'm not sure I understand the
So in
question.
other words, you said you've baked already into these numbers what Dawn just asked, people that are gonna resign, that's what you said, right, Dawn? Resign?
Yeah, leave that we know about from whatever.
That we know about.
Yep, and if we're rehiring for that position, no, they're clearly not here because it's not a position we're gonna eliminate. We did not have any retirements that we were able to transition into attrition of a reduction in force this year.
I guess my question was, do you project by percentage based on our history, some additional people leaving?
I think it is all over the map, and people make their individual decisions for individual reasons, that timelines that sometimes meet what you need, and sometimes things just happen in people's lives and they need to make a change.
Ginger, did you want to add anything to this position or about this position, what this would help at the middle school?
Well, I mean, as Justin shared earlier, the responsibility on the special education coordinator at the middle school is significant, and the amount of time that she spends in meetings currently does hamper her ability to connect with educational teams, to be able to talk about student needs, just collaboration on the implementation of accommodations and things of that nature. And so it certainly would assist in continuing to support the special education needs of kids across our buildings.
Margaret. And then Shauna, then Marian.
As these kids tend to be most vulnerable is the wrong terminology, but those needing greater support. And if we look at the test scores that we are all increasingly focusing on, our elementary schools seem to be doing well. There does seem to be a dip in the middle school. That's where we first see it, where we lose some of our competitive edge. And with these students requiring and deserving the extra assistance, I think directing the resources to that area does make sense.
Shauna?
I was pretty much gonna say the same version of what Mark said, although he was
Just a little
far,
higher.
far more eloquent than I. But just in terms of thinking from a higher scope, last board meeting, we all came together and repurposed a unified arts position into that in-school support position. And then thinking through repurposing an open and vacant position for a special education facilitator, losing an administrator at the building. Now you have a special education administrator that's going to be able to offset some of the administrative duties that are going to need to be shifted somewhere else, and an in-school support person dedicated to shifting some of the other responsibilities that an assistant principal would be supporting there. I'm in favor of this. I think it helps with that shift in responsibilities and in a reorg fashion. And as Mark said, there's more programming at the middle school. The numbers of special education students are growing, and getting older and moving on to the middle school. So we have a new program there. So that means additional children in the building that have those higher levels of need. And so I'm in favor of this. I think it actually helps fill the void of not having that assistant principal in the best capacity possible that's most fiscally responsible.
Marian?
So the special ed facilitator position is a certified special ed teacher, correct?
Correct.
And they primarily will be running the meetings, the IEP
So they
meetings?
will act as the LEA in the meetings, correct? Yep.
And the LEA is the?
Local Education Authority.
Okay.
So they're the person that allocates resources, has the authority to allocate resources when they're making IEP decisions.
Sorry, insurance, excuse me, to have somebody there that has an awareness of what we can provide, protects you from agreeing to provide something that you can't in those meetings very often. They're paying for themselves, they're positioned by what they save you in promises not made, or being able to find other ways to do things to achieve the same goal.
Jack?
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to what Ginger and Dom were saying too, is by law, we need to have an LEA at every special education meeting. So having a special education administrator in the building, be that person and try and facilitate special education services in the building is a huge challenge. So having the offset of having somebody else to be that representative and allow some of that growth for our faculty to happen to support our special education students is by law, we have to have somebody in that role at every meeting. So
Our facilitators also assist with paperwork, they help schedule meetings, they coordinate related service schedules. So those are all tasks that are kind of shared across the special education departments at the middle school right now because they don't currently have a facilitator. So, in addition to supporting the special education coordinator at the middle school level, it also provides assistance for case managers across the building.
And completes testing, sorry to jump
They do,
into,
yes.
right? So that's the other thing, that's gonna be important too, because timely testing and identification is gonna help improve our programming for students. And then hopefully in the long term, improve our educational outcomes for testing.
Check.
So this is a good workshop. I'm being serious about that. So if I understand this right, we get rid of a vice principal. We're bringing in a special needs facilitator.
Special education facilitator.
Thank you. That is coming from a unfunded position or an unfilled position,
Unfilled.
right? How does, not that the math means, because Shauna, you did a great job articulating the special, and you did too, the expertise that's gonna come to the table on that. How does the math, you could just say it's a gain or a loss, the one position versus the other position, because I don't wanna get into the salary aspect of it. I see us just kinda flipping from the vice principal to the facilitator. Am I
So-
in the school? And then I have one
So
other
the assistant
question.
principal is an administrative position.
Right, no, I
And
understand.
the special education facilitator is a teaching position. So in terms of salary and benefits, there's a very big difference.
Okay, and then the other question is, if we're doing so good in, and this is just me being me, if we're doing so good in the grade schools, how does all of a sudden, does it just fall apart in the middle school because of their age? I mean, I just,
That might be part of
and
it.
maybe that was, maybe that was cruel of me to say that,
Yeah.
but
Well, don't forget, they're coming from, instead of having just being at their one school with their one town with their town students, now they're being filtered into there's 4 towns in one building.
you know.
And then
good
also
for it.
too, I mean, just because I'm dealing with a 6th grader right now, went from no homework and not really having to keep up with anything to now they're keeping up with all these classes, all these assignments, their Chromebooks. Now you gotta email your teachers. There's a lot going on and their brains maturing and the hormones going that's going on in that middle school.
I almost remember.
Katie began that with saying that she's dealing with a 6th grader.
Maybe not, maybe not.
Yeah.
It's not, and all jokes aside, and that's a national trend, Jack. That's not specific to New Hampshire or Timberlane. Like, that is a magical group of years right
I
there.
just, when I heard, yeah, we're doing great here, and this is where our challenge is, I thought it was worth asking the question.
Good question.
That is a fundamental question to ask because this is what projects the 32% proficiency when we get to the end. That's a big question that we're all trying to solve. And if we can identify it, that's where we lose them in the middle school, we should be saying that and acting upon it and finding corrective measures to make it such that it doesn't happen.
Great.
Sounds like this facilitator position is a step in that direction. Marianne?
So on that note, I would like to make a motion to repurpose the current TTA open and vacant position CC 1105. I don't know what the CC 1105 means. but
Control code.
To a special ed facilitator position at the middle school effective July 1st, 2026.
I will second that. Motion by Marianne, second by Alyssa. Thank you very much. Any other discussion on this motion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. All right. That was a lot. Good work, guys.
Really appreciate the discussion. I just want to close by saying that those conversations that we had both with the board members and with our admin teams, when we're talking about reducing positions, we don't take lightly. It's one of our ultimate responsibilities. I just wanted to share that sentiment with the board.
All right, next up on the list is school food service pricing increase request. Who's that?
Maria, can you talk us through the pricing request?
So every year the school board approves the pricing for breakfast and lunch. Every year we try to keep the prices as best as we can reasonable for the families in our district.
This year and every year in order to generate enough revenue to pay for the increasing cost of the program. We are requesting a slight increase compared to last year, as we do every year.
And again, remind the board, this is an increase to be able to kind of meet the cost, the expectations of running the program. It's not a profit-driven system, and the district doesn't benefit from the revenue associated with it.
I believe we have made a profit the last couple of years, is that correct?
We made a profit 1 year. We just rolled into the program. Actually, right now we have debt.
Just missed it in the original packet.
Where do we stand with people that, with the students that have, deficiencies in their accounts and stuff? What I'm looking at is, thinking in my head is that if we had enough that we had an increase in this such that we could take that revenue, the small revenue, and use to, at the board's discretion, spread it on out over some of those students that have problems in their families making those needs, and then it basically becomes a net neutral cost.
So
That's something to think about.
yes, the board has made that decision the year that we had any kind of surplus. The board has motioned or voted to apply that towards the bad debt.
To the food service fund.
To the food service, through the food service fund. Yeah, this money cannot be used for anything else other than food service. It's supposed to be a program that runs even.
How much do we have outstanding as of roughly last report or even today kind of thing? How much is outstanding for students?
Outstanding debt?
Yeah.
Is about $100,000.
That's a lot of them to make on up.
We do our best effort to collect the money, but
And to remind the board, and Sean, I know that you've been new to this iteration of it, but we've also moved to a collection process and policy as well. That was not in place prior.
That's what I was going to say, just having had the benefit of having these discussions over the past couple of years. I just wanted you to voice that we have been proactive in trying to, as a district, reach out to families, encouraging them to avail themselves of the resources that are there. A lot of families do not do that, even when they are available. And for those students who aren't following up, be it via email, snail mail, repeatedly, telephone calls, et cetera, they're pretty proactive. And last year, we did just go to a collective collection agency as well, which seems kind of heartless, but you understand the implications.
Oh, and I think that a lot of this, I go back to my days when I was going to school. Hey, it's easy to just say, hey, I'm gonna get lunch at school, and I don't have to turn around and make my lunch in the morning. I get more time to sleep, those kind of things. So are people doing those kind of things? If you want to take part of that service and you got to pay an extra quarter per meal, that's a luxury that you have so that you can sleep an extra 15 minutes in your bed, and or your family's decision to do that. That should be done on a case by case basis with a family, they're figuring out what they want to put their resources to. So I'm not looking to make charge like $10 for something like this, but some extra couple of changes for something like that for somebody that wants to do that, such that we can have this extra revenue to sprinkle around to address some of these issues. $100,000 is a lot of money to make up, and that's going to be hard to if we wanted to do that.
So is there, Paul and then Mark after I speak, but is there a fund if people want to donate so that say, hey, I want to donate $100 for kids who have, is there a way to do that? Do we have anything like that set up?
There is, and we do often get donations specifically for food service.
Mhm.
The way we do that is we work with administration
Mhm.
and reach out who can identify those families that are in need. And that's how those donors, unless if the donor specifically sets the purpose of the
We should
donation.
promote that a lot more, because I could see businesses, they're Christmas time looking for goodwill gestures and stuff like that. Here's a check from Acme Company to the Timberlane School District to apply $1,000 to the school lunch program for kids that are underprivileged. That's great for us, and it's also great for the business. It's great for the community. There's no negativity out of that.
We have done outreach for that.
But yeah, but we got to promote it more because it's definitely not well known.
Is the town of Danville going to?
Well, we might have to pay our taxes.
Paul and then Mark.
Mark touched on it, but what has changed in our efforts to, and I know there could be a pride factor, there could be a whole bunch of reasons, there could be people not involved, but for free and or reduced lunch programs, don't we get money? We used to get money from the state for each one that signed up.
Still do.
Okay, so what does that look like? How do we socialize that?
Educate every possible touch point families have with our district so that every possible time they're interacting with us, there's an ability for us to be able to share that information. It is a challenge and a struggle.
We felt that was underutilized. For whatever reason, people don't sign up.
I mean, I don't know if Ginger has a number off the top of her head. I'm sure she wants to chime in, but I think we've got a percentage in the low double digits of free and reduced lunch. And I think that that's not reflective of the realities that we see in front of us.
I'd say it's not if we go $100,000 and yeah.
I just wanted to add that in September, the elementary school social workers pretty much spend a lot of that month because applications are typically due sometime early October. So there's a rollover that happens when somebody qualifies in a current year. They continue to be free or reduced through like September so that there's a gap. So for reapplication. So, they work really hard during that month to try and get families to apply, sending out applications in lots of different ways, promoting it with flyers and things of that nature so that we can just increase the number of applications that we're receiving. And the family just has to do one application for every child in the family. So it does help to capture some of the high school, middle school students that may not necessarily be as inclined to turn in the forms. And we don't have social workers at those levels to kind of monitor and assist with that process. But they work really closely with myself and the business department to just keep that information rolling. It has been a way for us to kind of capture more of that, need and be able to assist families with the process. So.
Thanks.
No, she covered. I'm good.
So these are our, Jack, sorry.
Sorry. Do we ever look at a tiered level? How do we review the food quality year to year? I mean, do we go over menus with Wixon? Do we? We do.
Yes.
Okay. And are there options?
There are very strict guidelines from
Jack wants to have Italian food for all across the board. But
yeah, there are very strict guidelines from the
federal government. Okay.
You'd be hard pressed to
Thank you.
get a meal of this quality, for twice the price anywhere, outside of the school. It's a really, it's a fine meal. You have options and look at those prices. Those increases are very modest.
They are
40 cents, 20 cents.
Maybe we should do a sampling at a board meeting.
So, but one of the problems that I would run into in talking to parents was kids were either not eating or they weren't willing to go on to, a free reduced lunch plan. They'd have their own plan at home. And the plan might be, you take what I give you to bring to school for food today, or you don't, and if the kid's not doing what he's got laid out for him, and the parents saying he'll learn a lesson through experience, that's a valid parental approach to things, for a period of time or whatever to try to teach a lesson. But these are the conversations you'll have with the people who are in this position, which is not a position that they would love to be in.
Right.
But they are proud people who are trying to navigate this thing in a way, as a parent, help a kid learn a lesson and to move forward and be nourished. But they might not take advantage of the opportunity they have. So there are a lot of different types of, there are people legitimately that use the program well, but it's an ongoing bit of work to try to figure that out, because you don't want a student failing to be able to, thrive, just physically during the day. And so we've been pretty good as a district at working with families. Principals call the SAU
and you start to understand the debt and the situation, you generally find a way to work with the family to help them out.
If I can add something else, I have to say that we are extremely lucky in this district. We have one of the best food service directors that Whitson's has. He is an amazing human being, most caring person. He comes up with new menus every month. He watches and gives a statistic of what kids like, what they don't like, what is healthier, what is not. We have a very, very, very good food service director. I encourage you, if you have the time, to go to one of our schools and have a meal, because I'm telling you, this guy is absolutely amazing.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the increase in pricing of school food services as presented in the executive summary dated April 2nd, 2026.
Motion by Mark, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dawn. Any other discussion? But Maria, if we could just figure out a way to better advertise for people if they want to make a donation to food service, if there's a way that we can like put it on our website or do something like that, more visibility, I think would be that. I mean, to Sean's point, I don't think there's anything anybody can fuss over that.
Oh, just wait.
Create a flyer and put it out.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion? Yeah, I'm sorry, Ken.
I just did the math out. For an increase of 25 cents over the course of 180 school days, that is only, it's an increase of $45 a year. So that is the amount that per year a family would be paying additionally. If a student got a lunch every day at the high school, it would be $774. So for the entire school year.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks for that breakdown,
Early
Kim.
release days that there's no lunch served, so it could be even less.
All right. Motion's
All
been-
joking aside, thank you, Kim. That actually is very helpful.
Thank you for that breakdown, Kim. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor? Opposed and abstained? Unanimous. All right.
I just did the same math over here.
All right. Next up on our agenda is instructional hour calendar. I believe this is Sadie.
This is me.
All right.
So you have in front of you an executive summary. I tried to provide you with a variety of different informational categories to kind of help you to make this decision. Just in summary, at a high level, districts are required by law to maintain either a school calendar that has 180 instructional days or minimum annual instructional hours, and those vary by level. So kindergarten, half-day K is 450 hours. Elementary schools require a minimum of 945, whereas secondary schools require 990. I gave you also by law some of the requirements around what is included when calculating daily hours, what is excluded, and also there are daily limits that are built into the law. So the maximum number of hours that can be counted by day at the elementary level are 5.75, and it is 6 hours for secondary schools. So a couple of other things to consider. If we were to start with an hourly calendar, we would have to have a calendar that built in 60 additional hours to account for weather-related days, professional development, things of that nature. You always, traditionally, this board has voted on a 180-day calendar. That time is automatically built in when you vote on a 180-day calendar. So, considerations. If the board tonight were to vote on the final day of school, we have had 2 snow days. I gave you those dates. We would then be looking at adding 2 calendar days to the end of the school year. Right now, that would bring us to Thursday, June 18th, if you wanted to maintain the 180-day calendar. Should you want us to change to an hourly calendar, I've broken down the calculations by level. I've laid it out with early release day time. We had 2 delayed openings. If you remember our elementary schools due to ALICE drills, they had 1 additional early release day per school. At the elementary level, those were already planned early release days for the secondary schools, which is why you don't see those. So all of those calculations are in the table on page 2 of the summary, and you can see where we land with regard to the hours that we have at each level, what the maximum is, and where we exceed and what that would translate to in days. And I should have said this, but those maximum number of hours that we're allowed to count daily at each level, when we do all of those different calculations at our schools, looking at the schedules, start time, end time, transition times, lunch, recess, all of those things, we exceed the maximum amount of hours that we can count. So we use the maximum hours as our calculation. So just so you understand where those are coming from. Beyond that, I gave you some considerations to take into account. So in addition to the hourly calculations, we also by law are required to align to the CTE regional calendars. We talked about this when we were setting next year's calendar, and we looked at that. We are obligated to minimize alignment days that do not align after Labor Day up until the last day of school. So for us, it's really Pinkerton and Salem, but I went ahead and included the other districts that fall within our CTE region. We meet annually at the beginning of the year to plan for the following year. We already align PD days to the greatest extent we can. Different districts have different contractual requirements with regard to how many professional development days they have. Early release days are aligned for districts that have all of them. I tried to include the number of traditional snow days that each of the districts had. You can see that. If graduation has been set by that district, I included that for you. And then I tried to project for you how many unaligned days we would have should you go with either the current day of school. If you were to go with the current day, that would mean reverting to an hourly calendar. If you wanted to add 2 days, that would be, again, maintaining the 180-day calendar, pushing it forward by 2. And there was a question about could we end on the Friday before the projected current day of school, which would be Tuesday the 17th, backing up to the previous Friday. I wanted to give you what those projected conflicts would be. As you can see, they all fall under 10, regardless. That said, something that you should consider is that while we are under 10 for the students who do attend CTE, any day that is a conflict is a challenge, right? And so in some cases, it is if the bus is not running to Salem, or if we are not in session, but those schools are, right? Or vice versa. So just something that you should think about as you're having those conversations. Beyond that, other things to consider are the impact on professional development days. So for professional staff and our support staff, there are a certain number of required contractual days. You'll find that on the last page of the executive summary. Along with, we did cancel one professional development day on January 26th. That was a weather-related cancellation. So I plotted that out for you. You would see the number of required makeup days that we would have with each of those categories of staff. It could be as few as 3, which is where we likely stand right now, or as many as 5 should you back up the last day to the previous Friday. And then just considering instructional time and student learning. While 2-4 days may not seem like a lot, and I think we all tend to think that once June 1st hits, it's nice out and there's not a lot going on. Students are actually wrapping up, in many cases, extended projects. There are presentations happening. There are a lot of collaborative projects going on, credit recovery. When it comes, final exams at the high school, when it comes to CTE, a lot of those like final projects that lead to credentialing for many of those students could be happening around this time. So just things to think about. So we try to just give you different things to have on your mind as you're having this conversation about whether or not you want to revert to hours and maintain the day, eliminate 2 additional days, or add 2 days if you want to maintain the 180-day calendar. So that is it.
Okay. So if we go to hours, we stay at the current school day, which is June 16th. If we don't, we add 2 days. And then we could do the Friday. But to Sandy's point, there's quite a few conflicts. So it's whatever the will of the board wants to do with that.
You move that we go to hours and save the time.
So Dawn made the motion to go to hours. Mark seconded it. Any discussion? Yeah, Marianne, go ahead.
Sandy, I had a question. It looked like last year we kept the same last day of school,
We did.
even though there had been 2 snow days. What was done for the makeup days because there must have been the same situation?
We had a traditional professional development day at the end of the year. They were building based, so we allowed building teams to design PD on that day. And then the second day, we were able to work with our bargaining units. There are a number of mandated trainings that we are required by law to provide annually. We were able to have an agreement to push those trainings for that day forward to after July 1 and allow staff to complete those remotely, not in the building, but it's still a state requirement to get all of that done. And that accounted for the time that would have been allocated to a traditional in-person PD day. So we were able to, and we track that just so we track that. We have certificates that are produced, all of those different things. So we maintain records on that to make sure that staff are completing their time.
So I was thinking that this year, if we did keep that same last day of school and we had 3 days because of the one that's professional development, would there be room in there to have staff really focus on how the standardized assessments went this year and whether there are ways to continue to focus on that?
Potentially, yes. So hopefully we would have the data on that. I can't say with confidence we would have 100% of the data back because sometimes the scoring of the writings, it takes a little bit of time to generate it. So while students get their individualized results, sometimes grade level, school level results take a little bit longer, but that's a potential of what we could do.
I'm even thinking if they did some more work to try and motivate better performance, if they could talk about that. And
Yeah, there are definitely topics that we've talked, a lot of the competency related work that we've been digging into with the 306 rules and things like that, that would provide us some additional time for that level of work. So yes.
I'm sort of not following all this because always 180 days was the longer amount. And I support that. More days, and in fact, I could probably support year-round education. That would probably be it, but I know.
Be very expensive, Sean.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's definitely warranted, let's say. And I know that the state does offer, the hourly stuff. And where I was going, when I brought it up last meeting, was the ending on a Tuesday, just sort of like, what are you going to do with students in 2 days? Everybody's going to be ready to check on out. That's where I was going with it. So that's where I wanted to make sure that if we did decide to do that, could we do it on a Friday and meet all the requirements so that we're, approved by the state. That's where I was going with all that stuff. But personally, I don't see why would we have the, hourly rate calculation being our driving force versus the 180 days. Is the big question that I have is why are we looking at changing this? It's been motion seconded. Who's supporting this in the administration to go to a non-180 days?
Oh, no, it's,
No, go ahead, Shauna.
it's a board decision every year. We make this, the vote comes to us, whether or not we count days or hours. Every year that I've been on the board. The administration just presents all the options to us, just like Sandy did.
Okay.
And also too, we've moved away from the blizzard bags. We had a big discussion about this. They used to be, before COVID, it was people got sent home literally the bags with the papers. And then with COVID, it was the Chromebooks. And it was just looking at staff, a lot of staff, they were logging on, people were going through the motions. But then when they were coming back to school, it was just relearning things and doing stuff. And so that's why we've kind of, I believe since you've been here, is when we've really started looking at just giving them traditional snow days. And then that way and then just moving to hours if that ends up doing it towards the end. But I think the reason that we've started moving to the hours is that we've been just giving people traditional snow days instead of those blizzard bags, because it's like education, like learning really wasn't happening. It wasn't doing anything.
You
It was
check off
just-
a day, but there was no traction.
Go ahead.
No,
Mel.
I agree.
So that was, but go ahead.
So have we tried keeping the 180 days and changing the last day of school out towards
So
the
what
summer?
I can tell you is that many years ago, this is, I think, year 20 for me in this district. As a teacher, we absolutely added days to the end of the calendar. I went back, because thank you, you gave me a heads up. But I did go back. Anecdotally, I can tell you that in 2020 during COVID, the board discussed this and made a vote. I believe they eliminated at least 5 days at the end of that year. We were in COVID. 2021, we started the year late because we were coming out of COVID. We had 4 additional PD days at the beginning of the year, and we had 2 vaccination days. So we had 6 days, and the board reverted to hours that year. 2022, we had distance learning days. Blizzard bag days are no longer approved by the state. But by law, we are able to go to remote learning models, not send home bags, but remote learning in weather-related events. So we did that this year. We did not add anything or revert to hours. It was the standard calendar. In 23, we had 2 snow days and 2 distance learning days. We went with the hourly calculation. 24, 4 snow days, hourly calculation that the board voted on. And last year we had 2 snow days and the board voted to go with the hourly calculation. So historically, that's where we've been.
Yeah, I find the New Hampshire method of saying you have to schedule 180 days. And if we were scheduling hours, we'd have to schedule extra hours, but we don't have to schedule extra days. So, because I'm coming
I
from.
think if you look at the minimums and you look at the calculation,
No,
had we not scheduled additional time, there are many days beyond the 60 additional hours built into the 180-day calendar based on their hourly calculations.
No, I'm coming from where we used to have to
make up the days,
allow for 5 snow days, and you got to get out early. Never had to add it days.
To throw you for a real loop, Tennessee, where I'm from, the snow days are built in, and it doesn't matter if they use them or not, they lose them. And so down there, it'll be like, hey, we've not had a snow day this year. It's like, oh, a flurry, calling school off. And it doesn't matter because it's going to end. It's not built towards the end. It's built within. So, yeah. So coming up here, it was weird. I was like, what do you mean it moves?
Is there a motion on the floor too?
Yep, there's a motion and a second.
Oh, what is it?
What?
You motioned to do hours, right?
Yeah. Motion's been made and seconded to move to the hour.
Let's call that baby up.
All right, so can we, just to, for clarity sake, the move to hours results in the last day of school being?
16.
It would remain Tuesday, June 16th.
Thank you.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous, cool, moving on. Policies.
You have 2 policies up for a second read. There are no changes since you saw these 2 weeks ago. The first one, IMAH, is daily physical activity. If you remember, the only significant change on here was that with the 306 rules, there is a requirement for monitoring and oversight of this policy, and that now is designated to the Wellness Committee. Beyond that, there are no other significant updates from what our current policy had been.
Any questions about either of these policies? Okay. You want to make a motion to second read and adopt both of them?
Make a motion to accept policy IMAH, daily physical activity, and JIC, student conduct, for second read and adoption.
Motion by Shauna, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alyssa, any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. All right. Next up, some committee assignments. All right, so you've got where everyone is currently sitting. There's a couple places that are open. We do have one negotiation this year, which is the TTA negotiation. The TAU, don't know just yet, but did you want to speak to that real quick?
I have an update later for that.
Okay. So one change that's already been made is Budget Committee. Mary Ann is going to take over that slot. Just over the next week, if you don't care, please email me. And if you want to CC Mark on that, on which committees, if you like where you're at, you want to stay, you want to move, if you're interested in the negotiation, but please email us that way that we can put this together and have it at the next board meeting. Currently, until any changes are made, if you're already sitting on a committee, please continue to go to those committee meetings until the change has been made. Yeah, Mary Ann, go ahead.
Should I just comment? I said I would do budget committee, but if somebody else was interested, I don't wanna, you know, like just take it over, so.
I
got a feeling since the state with the vote aspect of that sort of changed, now it's the hot potato nobody wants.
Oh, I don't care. Yeah, that was a weird so last year was the first year that was implemented, and that was very weird because it's like you need to be. I was able to do some good discussion. It was good discussion going back and forth, but it is odd being on a committee that you can't vote, make motions, or do anything. So it's an odd committee now. Still good information though.
I would like to, out of the goodness of my heart, Sean, if you want to take anything that I'm on here.
You know what, Paul? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna abstain from that.
Okay.
So again, just look at it. Please email me and Mark what you are wanting sometime, please, by next week. So that way we can sit down and look at this. And that way at the next board meeting, we can have some concrete of who people are, where they're going to be at. Next up for just some informational is our school board goals. These are currently them. The last couple years, we have done workshops to kind of talk about it. I believe we are going to ask our attorney to be at this one as well. He was at the one that the last year. Kelly sent out a survey, which we only got 3 responses. So 3 of the days that we're looking at holding a workshop is April 16th, April 30th, and May 7th. All of those are at 5:30. Currently, it looks like the April 30th one is the one that's got the most participation, but if you guys could look at that so we could set a date to do a workshop. If you can be here, that'd be great and wonderful. If you can't and you don't care, then that's fine too.
Could we ask her to resend that for people who have extra robust filters like Miss O'Kane?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
All right, so be looking for that.
I like it.
I know
The 3 of us who voted.
Yeah.
Could we maybe ask Kelly to re-poll with those 3 dates? Cause
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that work?
Yeah,
Cause
yeah.
there was a few.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the dates were 30th and you said
16, 30.
16th, 30th, and the
Check your
7th.
email.
And the what?
May 7th.
May
I mean,
7th.
there is May 21st, but I'm not gonna be here. So.
I'm only here the 30th, so.
16th, the only one I can make, so that's why I voted that way.
And if those days don't work, we can figure out some other ones. It's fine. The whole board, it's our goals. It's our meeting or our workshop to do them, figure out what we want to do for the next year. So just be thinking about and look at those. That's it. And then next up on the agenda is the deliberative session. What is that? Oh,
Page 37.
is it the big RSA?
Yeah, your packet starts. Your packet starts with the RSA, just so you have the legal language. We've highlighted there the sections that are really about the timing
Okay.
that you can see, and I know that Mary Ann has prepared
Yes.
also some things for the board to consider there for discussion this evening.
Yep. And also for this discussion, it will be obviously our next steps on what we need to do to see which direction we're going to move. So Mary Ann, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so thank you all for voting at the last meeting to have this on the agenda. What I tried to just keep track of were challenges that I heard from people who attended deliberative, some who attended for the first time, some who were seasoned deliberative session attendees. And as they mentioned challenges, if any suggestions were offered, I tried to keep track of those. So what you see is a list of challenges and then suggestions that came up, and some of them conflict with others. The biggest, I think, things that I heard were about the day and time of the meeting, and also to some extent location, and then logistics, especially efficiency in the secret ballot process, where that hits a lot. You know, we're fortunate to have so many people that are very enthusiastic about being involved in our process. With that comes challenges that you don't have if you only have 100 people at a deliberative session. So I thought it would be good to just put this out there, see if others have heard other things from the community, and see how we can proceed to make sure it's as inclusive and productive a session for everybody in the next couple of years to come.
Yep, Jack.
Yeah, I concur with Mary Ann. I hear that a lot. I think there will be some trade-offs in people that can't make it on a Saturday, but other people, you know, but I think the feedback I get is that I think we'd have more people, and that's what we want. I also think that we should probably move it to a Saturday to see how it works. because I think the feedback we'll get from it will direct us in future deliberative sessions down the road. So I would be all for moving it to a Saturday.
Alyssa, did you have something?
Yeah, just one of the things on here, I noticed it says location of meeting. This was actually brought up on the night of deliberative at some point. I was talking with Kurt and Anthony at the PAC. The logistics of having it at the gym, they were very concerned about because of having to get all of the equipment there to be able to stream everything and mic everything up, and the space issue. It was probably gonna end up being less effective at the gym than it is at the PAC, was what the.
Sean, you were on the board. They've had several times at the gym. How was?
Me too, many times.
Yeah.
Depending on how long it goes, it's a lot easier sitting in a nice padded seat versus on a wooden bench.
Maybe that'll move people
So, I
along
mean,
though.
that's a factor.
Yeah.
If I could ask, what were the perceived benefits of going to the gym as opposed to the PAC or vice versa?
The flow of secret ballot.
Oh,
Every
I think
town,
specifically to the-
every
Yeah.
town got assigned to a classroom, and
Yep,
every
yep.
classroom has 2 doors, and you just went
Yep,
in.
no, I
and-
understand.
Yeah.
Jack.
So back in the day, decades ago, when I sat on the board, we did do it in the gym. There were times where we had secret ballots. Those were typically done in the cafeteria because we didn't have the overload. We did one year, I think, have to put people in the caf, and I think we did we didn't have any secret balloting that particular year. So there's never been a crossover of secret balloting and too many people in there, but I think you have the classroom, so I don't think that's a real issue. And I can tell you, I mean, the 3 years I sat on the board, I think we did 2 out of 3 were in the cafeteria. I think we did 1 in the PAC center. So I don't know what is involved with moving
No,
all
and
that
I don't,
equipment, but
I don't know the specifics either. I'm not a technical person.
a lot of duct tape on the floor. though.
But I think it's just a
Yeah.
discussion that we need to have with them to get the specifics.
So I know last year we went to the boards of selectmen, and though it wasn't a plurality, most of them preferred to have it stay the same. Judging by this year's experience, I think it would behoove us to go back
Yeah.
to the representatives of our town and ask them to elicit feedback, not just their particular leanings, but ask for feedback from the town. They are elected representatives, see what it is that they hear and use them as a resource as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll pledge right now, Danville will support Saturday.
You're one person, you can't
You know what,
pledge for
Mark?
Danville.
Don't tell me how to run my stuff. I've already, you know what? I
Hey,
talked to my board. I
let's-
know where they stand.
We're nobody. This is
So
just
just
this is just a good conversation.
point
We're
of-
not getting
as-
we're not getting hostile.
But why is he interjecting like that and making such a comment? I'm gonna call it on it.
Nobody's
stop.
doing anything.
You wanna have
Nobody's-
respect, then start it off.
Guys,
Okay, as a
It's
point of
okay.
clarification, I had suggested going to the boards of selectmen
Mm-hmm.
and not just asking their particular leanings, we know yours, having them reach out to their people to see. So again, because they are representative of the town, I understand you feel strongly, and that's great, and your town may feel that way.
Can I speak now that I have the floor? The way that this RSA works, this board decides its deliberative session. And it's not part of whatever other town does. If another town wants to turn around and decide that they want to do it at the same exact time, that's going to disenfranchise their constituents because they're going to have to decide which one to go to. But if we are smart and we say we're going to do this early on in the process right here, and we put everybody on notice, all the community, and say we are going to have it, for example, Saturday, the second Saturday is when the Timberlane one would be done. And then conversely, all the towns should have it on a Saturday, the one before it, because there's always 2 weekends that are encompassing this. So it can work on out and very easily work on out. It's like, who wants to then turn around and put a stake in there just to be a jerk or something like that? That's a possibility, yes, but then they just enfranchise their own electorate. So this board decides its own decision regardless of other towns, but I do understand, I'd like to take their points into consideration.
Perfect.
So one thing this board has really tried hard is to work collaboratively with towns. Yes, the board at any point in time can say, this is the day we're doing it. But I believe it would be within good faith because last year we did talk. I understand that Danville was willing to do it on a Saturday, but the other 3 towns were not. the towns themselves have their own issues with their own deliberative sessions. So I believe to work collaboratively and go to the Board of Selectmen to ask them. The other thing too is that we need to figure out a way to poll the population, not just people who have kids in school, but also the residents. So a polling or a survey, hopefully if we could get this done by the time that people go to their boards and actually get on the agenda to speak about this, if we have a way to do a survey, maybe they also have options as well that they could help collaborate with to be able to get data as well. Or if we have a survey link, could they post it to their town? Just something like that. But Jack, go ahead.
So I think this is pretty easy. I think we ask the four towns to coordinate with us. It's just a matter of coordination. Say we want to do it on a Saturday. We want to see it. There's merit in it for them to have it work out for us. And typically, I mean, let's face it, up until the last 2 years, we've been begging people to come.
Yeah.
There's been 50, 100 people at a deliberative session, which is ridiculous. So this is, I think we do a test run. I think we ask the four towns to work with each other and work with us to coordinate those dates. And I think if you get it done this early on and you start that dialogue now, I don't think it becomes a point of contention. If we find it doesn't work or it doesn't work for the the polls are, every 300 people that said they were going to come and support me at a town deliberative session, usually like one person shows up. So the polls and when you would like it, it's true.
Well, the problem is some of the people we've had some people come to us and say that they'd rather have it on a Friday, or we've had some people say they want to keep it on a Thursday but start sooner. So there's I know some people have said Saturdays, but there's a lot of people that have said Fridays and Thursdays. That would be the point of the survey.
And the other point that I'll just bring up about Atkinson, because I typically go to all these things. The majority of people that go to that deliberative session, you do not see on Thursday nights at our deliberative session. I would say about 80%, maybe 90%. I don't know if that measures into the decision making, but they're usually two different trains of thought there, if you will. I don't know if it's the same in the other towns.
Right. So
I think because we don't want to antagonize the select boards by any stretch, and we don't want to disenfranchise people who want to come. So I think if we could do a survey and offer Thursday start at 6 or start at 7, Friday
and then the Saturday.
Probably same
Yeah.
two start times, or Saturday starting maybe 10 a.m. and have just those options. And if the select boards can post it to their websites, and it's on the Timberlane one as well, I think we can get the word out.
Yep.
And see where it comes out. And I know you're gonna be going around to the select boards.
Yes,
in
yeah, we've
each
got
of the
3 or 4 of them confirmed, so I can share those dates out with the board, and then maybe that could be an evening of partnership where, you're reaching to them and getting on the agenda specifically for this item.
Yep.
In addition, just to a presentation from myself and some other folks.
I would recommend doing the survey before school gets out. People go away on vacation, and this way here, you have enough time, say it ends up being on a Saturday or Friday night. You then, well, Saturdays, you can coordinate and give the towns enough notice so that everyone can work together and accomplish whatever we want.
Yeah, Sean, go ahead.
I like to actually make a suggestion that we actually take a vote that we are going to be supportive of this, because we could go through all this work and the board decides, no, we're still gonna keep it at Thursday for whatever reason. I mean, going through all this effort to talk to all these people when people might have the decision right now, I'm never gonna change this. Let's let that opinion come on out and part of the record so we know that particular board members are not looking to change this period.
Okay, do you have a motion you want to offer?
Yes.
Go ahead.
If the Timberlane community, respective towns, decides to support a Saturday deliberative section, that the school board will support that venue
Sean's
for
made
the
a
deliberative session.
All right, Sean's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Just to clarify.
Yep.
With that means majority of all 4 towns?
Sure.
I just want.
No,
I agree.
Yeah, no. Well, I
So
wanted to agree. I mean,
I
if
kind of want to represent whatever Atkinson vote is as a Atkinson
Right.
representative, but that could be the same or different from two towns. Who knows? You know, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll support that.
I'm curious as to whether that's what I would wanna commit to, without some clarification about if it comes back to a vote here, I might contradict what it seems like I'm saying tonight.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm fine with whatever
Where
my
would
town
we-
wants to do.
Where would we do these surveys?
You don't know yet.
Marianne.
Could I make a friendly amendment to your motion?
Okay.
That the board vote to support the majority vote of the community. And the survey would go out on the 4 town websites and the Timberlane website. And just straight majority. I wasn't even thinking we'd ask which town you were from, because we're one community.
No way. Sorry.
Shauna and then Jack.
I'm in alignment with all of this thinking, which is like hard to sort of discern. Rather maybe, question mark, big fat question mark? Would it behoove us to take a vote that we're going to make a determination about the deliberative date by, say, the first meeting in August or something? That way we have time to collect this information and spend some reflection, because that to me is a significant amount of time for planning. And that would align with the budget process starting to fire up there. I don't know, what do you think, Sean?
Well, my whole part is that the sooner that you make it disseminated throughout the community, the better off everybody's gonna be, because everybody knows it.
Right.
And that's what I do. But what I was trying to, in my motion here tonight, is to, if anybody has some hard feelings that, no, Thursday night is it, it's been this way, it's tradition, and I'm gonna die on this hill, let that be known amongst your colleagues here tonight. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, I don't even have to have a formal motion, but just anybody in here not willing to change from Thursday night is just speak up now, forever hold your peace kind of thing.
No, but I wanna hear from the people.
No, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but the point that I was getting at earlier is
Okay,
it's
cool.
this board's
I get it now.
decision. You could
Yep.
have everybody say, make it
Yep.
Thursday, and you said, no, I want it Saturday, and I'm gonna vote for Saturday. That's the point, but now
Yep.
it was flipped on over because.
Shauna, yeah.
So, thank you for clarifying, because now I fully understand the intent of that. So I still am gonna go by the second friendly amendment too, is to maybe we show action by actually determining a date that we're going to schedule the dates for deliberative. Does that make sense? Because that pushes all of us to get out into our communities, to organize and get the information and have these conversations sooner rather than later, like you were saying. Is that?
Okay.
Jack.
Because we haven't done that
It is,
before.
it is amazing how brilliant Sean is, really, seriously. I was all for the Saturday thing, or I was all for doing the survey thing until Dawn brought up, what happens if my town vehemently disagrees with that, right? So we represent the people of Atkinson, so I get that. I think we've just overcomplicated this. I think, Shauna, your point was, let's just pick a date and stick to our guns on that, and that's when it's gonna be, and I think that's the right way to do it. We do it as a board. I mean, if we start, you're not gonna make everybody happy. I think I said at the very beginning, you're gonna have people that can't make it on Saturday, that can make it on Thursdays. The question is, what's more palatable for everybody in general around the district? So I just think we do the Saturday, we try it out, see how it works, and then it will tell us moving forward when we wanna do this.
So it's always been on a Thursday and we're changing it. So I think it behoove us to do the work. I think we can set a date that in August, the first meeting in August, we can make a decision. Yes, we represents Plastow, everybody represents our town, but at the end of the day, we have to do what's best for Timberlane. And I know everyone knows that, but I don't think a single board member here is like, no matter what, I don't care what they say, it's gonna be Thursday. I think we're all wanting to do what's best for the district. So I think, Sean, either we could continue with your motion.
I'm okay with that, as long as nobody's,
Yeah.
coming back here and when the motion, say it's a Saturday, and when it comes down and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm against it. You know what? I'll call up anybody on that.
That's fine.
And that's just basically, it's because now is the time to say that you're fixed on Thursday. And that's what I wanted to get through.
I got you.
No. I mean,
So I withdraw my motion. As long as everybody's on the same page, that's good.
but I do believe, though, to Shauna's point, I think that we need to have the survey, have talked to our Board of Selectmen, and then we need to be able to take action at the first board meeting in August. What is everybody's thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so could we put that down in our calendar for the running agenda items, that's what
Point
we're
of
doing?
clarification from
Yeah, go ahead.
Marianne, your suggestion, and I think you'd mentioned Thursday, traditional in our early Friday traditional time and our early Saturday traditional time and or Saturday, I don't know what the heck you do with Saturday, probably probably 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
9 or 10.
I like that a lot. That gives the most options to the most people, whether they're working parents or they have kids in sports or whether they're, retired and want to go to bed early. It gives the greatest flexibility for the community.
Yeah, and I was thinking just select one, not
Select-
prioritize.
Yeah,
or
one
anything
choice,
like
that's
that.
it, man.
Just make it easy.
Pick all that apply.
And,
And then you will be reaching out to Bob Harb, letting him know that we're thinking about possibly moving, like this conversation's gonna be happening.
Evolving.
Okay.
If I could
All right.
recommend that maybe even in an email to all the towns, this is our intent, so that you're put the towns already on notice that we're looking to discuss this and we're gonna do a survey and we're gonna include you on it. So, and that could go on out, in the next couple of days so that they're already starting to know this now.
Yeah.
And it will be on the agendas they receive from me too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good stuff. All right, next, moving on is request for over expenditure of appropriate funds pursuant to RSA 32:11. This was already voted on by the budget committee at the last budget committee meeting, but I'll let Justin explain more.
Yep, that's on 45 of your packet in terms of the page there. And really what it is doing, it's a letter from me on behalf of the district to the Commissioner of Education. It's defining what we're calling an unusual circumstance, and that's part of the legal statute. The second paragraph there kind of defines what we mean by that unusual circumstance, and I'll summarize it for you here. A primary contributing factor is the reduction of roughly $6.6 million from the proposed budget at the 2025 deliberative session, and then pairing that with the initial reduction of $3 million that Timberlane was operating or is operating this fiscal year with about $10 million less than the district needed to maintain current operations and status quo programs. It's then followed by 3 bullet points, and we've been keeping you updated and abreast of this all year. But these are 3 lines that we are absolutely anticipating and projecting an over expenditure in, and you can see those dollar amounts there. The second series of bullets there are additional revenue received in lines where we expected revenue. So again, I want to be clear about that. This is not new revenue that came in that we didn't expect. This is additional revenue that came in areas that we did expect to receive some sort of revenue. So these are revenue figures of additionally, this is as of March 31st. We're essentially asking the commissioners to be able to access this additional revenue that we've received here to help offset or assist in the over expenditure that we've defined in an unusual circumstance. As Katie, I think preluded before, we talked through the budget committee with this exact piece at their last meeting, at their business meeting last Thursday. They've approved this application, and we're bringing it here for you, for your approval as well, before submitting it to the Commissioner of Education.
Anybody have any questions on this? Again, these are lines that we were already expecting revenue, just we've got extra that was not accounted for. Yeah, Sean, go ahead.
I see what you're doing with this is you're trying to accelerate the revenue that you have and you spend it this year.
To seek the authorization.
Yep, no, and I understand all the processes you gotta go with it, but I'm looking on here, the Maria's numbers here for fiscal year 25, and I have some questions on it because we're having here a projected, we're gonna spend 86 million. And some of these numbers in here, for example, they have the principal of $3.2 million. That's, I'm assuming that's from the lease agreement. How do we do that?
What are you looking at there, Sean, just so I know what you're looking at?
Line 910.
This document.
Gotcha, okay.
On the back side of it. Yeah, at the bottom, as you look on the right-hand side is the current year. And so some of these are projected expenses because, of course, this is still the current year.
Correct.
That's last year. That's the year that. That's not.
I think this year's on there.
Current year's not on there.
Yeah, current year's.
I apologize, guys.
Okay. Maybe it's because we haven't explained that packet of paper in front of you yet, but we'll get there.
Correct.
Okay.
But really, this is all dictated on this particular part of it, because if we go through all the financials of this year, let's look at that. I wanna see like where the cash flow is before I support something like this.
I would answer that comment, Sean, with this, is I've never been in a situation where I needed to make this request before, because we were always projecting an unassigned fund balance at the conclusion of the school year. So we didn't need authorization to spend additional revenue that we did receive, because it just reverted back to taxpayers. We are absolutely in a situation where we need to access the additional revenue we have to offset the obligations and requirements we have for expenses as a school district. If you look at those three bullets there and the over expenditures, the board's already taken some action to offset some of those. You've moved some salary figures over, we've done some budget transfers.
I agree with all that stuff. I mean, just because you're overspending a couple of line items, if you're saving more than that in other items, it offsets that and you've gained some extra revenue.
Yes, and I what I'm presenting tonight is, we've done that analysis and we still need to access these additional funds in order to make it work toward the end.
You know, sort of as a teacher would say, I need to be shown the work to give you full credit for it, kind of thing. I'm only giving the conclusion.
Just
so
judge
I'm
me on
asking
performance. We're a
Talk about
performance-based
the shoe.
assessment organization.
Talk about the shoe on the other foot. Yeah, so, where was I going with this? I think the last meeting I said, we said we were right on the button. Remember that?
We are threading a needle and the needle's eye
And didn't
is
I say, we've got to do better? In other words, that gap has got to be wider because we don't know, because there were a lot of unanticipated under expenditures and over expenditures. I think we've got to do what we can, what's possible within our means to widen that gap, to have a level of comfort. We're not increasing the budget. We're trying to get to the end, because I know what it's like when the accountant comes out and says it's too close for comfort, right? So in my mind, after the last meeting, for me, and I thought about this for the last 2 weeks, it's just too close for comfort. If this helps with that, and I'm sure it's going to, I'd have to support it. My concern is maybe we should have had a paper shortage back in September. But those were, I say that tongue in cheek, Don. That's hard to do that early on in the process, as you articulated. So, I would support this reluctantly, but we have to do it because the consequence of going over the bottom line is a lot more than this, in my opinion.
Marianne, did you have something on?
So if this is approved and we don't need exactly that amount for this fiscal year, is there a problem? Are we like in default of doing something?
No. And if it's approved and we don't utilize all of this, is that what you're asking?
Goes back.
Yes.
It just reverts back to the taxpayer. It would become part of the unassigned fund balance.
So by requesting this, we're giving ourselves a safety net that isn't necessarily going to be used.
No, I'd say it like this. By approving this, we are accessing monies that I'm projecting will be required to meet our expenses.
Should still be short.
Okay.
Because of cash flow or to meet the budget?
Because of cash flow.
John.
What I would ask is that, to follow up on what Mary Ann's saying, is that if we're being asked to authorize so that you can spend those particular revenue lines. And if we approve it and it's not used, it just flows through the normal process, unexpended fund balance gets all the way added, and it goes back to basically to the taxpayer, which is fine. But what I'd like to do is put a caveat on that and saying, by you asking this, because it can get to the point where you ask for it and you most likely might not need it, and then so that just normally goes through that way. Or it's something that here and it can be used for repurposing all the way around. No, because we
Sean,
can move.
great. I'm glad you're saying that. This is by statute. We can only spend it toward the areas where we've identified an unusual
Okay, that's good.
circumstance.
I learned something on that part, so that's good. But what I'd like to do is that for you to utilize those funds is that you need board approval at one of our meetings. Because when that's gonna put it in highlight to us that you really needed this funds. And we'll authorize it. I wanna be able to see it for why it's in here. And
How about you authorize it and I can report back to you what's expended? To be able to authorize every individual expense, I'm concerned that that flies in the face of what you're authorizing tonight. This is a very stock and form letter that I need to be able to submit, and I'm concerned about having any caveats to the letter. I am happy to report to the board every penny of what we're gonna do with these monies, but to come and seek your approval before we're spending it when you've already authorized me to expend it doesn't seem to be efficient to me.
And to Justin's point, I mean, we are very limited on what we can do. Like, we've identified it, this is in this letter. If we spend it on anything else, we can be in big
Can't.
trouble.
Well,
We can't.
I would have to disagree with the identifying because I haven't seen yet anything that identifies it yet. That's
If you look at
no,
the,
you I mean it's predicated upon cash flow analysis. This is what we did. I'd like to actually see those cash flow analysis. So that I can feel from my viewpoint and my vote that it's truly needed. If you go through this process and you find out that this isn't really a warranted cash flow issue, why are we requesting this? That's what I want to be able to put aside.
Mark and then Jack.
Would you be comfortable, or would it set your mind at ease if you were given a bi-weekly cash flow report specific to these funds and where they have been expended?
Sure.
Would that create more work than
It'd
it
be always
solves?
my intent to report back to the board where these are gonna be heading.
And I would say, right now, for maybe every couple of weeks for the cash flow, and then I think just maybe a monthly report to the board that we get as a cash flow analysis.
do.
Do a
Already.
monthly cash flow report in the second meeting of every month.
and you've actually got it, if you look at this form, that's the dashboard and that talks about cash flow at the bottom. I think, yeah.
Yes.
There's one in here that talks about the cash flow. But Maria comes in every month and talks about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's the financials. I'm sorry,
Oh, it's
I
this
didn't
one.
see this one.
Cash flow is this one.
It's the very bottom.
Very bottom. The last one.
Oh, it must be, yeah, that one's the dashboard. And mine was right after that. The dashboard. That was in February.
I'm hoping that makes you more, does that make you more comfortable? Sean?
Well, I gotta look at it first. I mean, yeah, having something is better than nothing, so.
I mean,
yes.
the fact that that we are and will continue to
I wanna
have
be
this
able to see the
available.
numbers that shows that yes, you need this, kind
Cool.
of thing versus.
Cool. This is fun.
Yeah, you gotta read it verbatim.
In that case, I will make a motion
We
to.
can make a motion and then a second, and then there's always room for discussion. Go ahead.
In that case, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application request of the New Hampshire Commissioner of Education pursuant to RSA 32:11 to authorize an overexpenditure of the fiscal year 2026 budget due to an unusual circumstance, specifically the significant and unanticipated increase in special education costs, including out-of-district tuition, transportation, and contracted services, and further authorize the superintendent to submit all necessary documentation in support of this request.
Motion by Mark, do I have a second? Seconded by Dawn. All right, Jack, what discussion you
I
got?
saw what happened up there. It's just, I had my hand up, I got acknowledged and whatever.
I didn't see
I
Jack.
just wanna,
No, I saw him.
no,
You
no,
started
no,
speaking
not you,
first.
Mark.
Sorry.
I'll explain that to you later.
It's me.
I can't help but, as we have this discussion, think to that deliberative session where things were just shot from the hip, right? If we had a
Which one?
responsible budget,
Which deliberative session?
the one prior to
So
the
not
last
this
one.
year, but the one before.
Yeah, the
Okay.
one with the big cut, right? We wouldn't be having this discussion. We would be discussing proficiency rates and we're, bringing everyone up to grade level. This is what happens when we're polarized. This is what happens even at the last deliberative where there's a winner and a loser. We can't do that. That is not responsible budgeting. We could have avoided the last 10 minutes of this conversation. How much work that gets done at the administration at this level? Where did she go? Anyways, I just, it's bad business and it doesn't make sense. And I can't help but think how so much more of this could have been avoided if people had just had their heads screwed on a little bit. I understand the challenges, I understand the frustration, but this is a consequence of it.
Yep, Don.
This is what I'll say, I think the shortage was anticipated. And it didn't get voted that way, but we're in this situation. We knew we were gonna be facing uncertainty around all these things, transportation, special education. Where we were gonna make it, we would keep you reminded. And I remember you saying, well, then you go back to the towns and, you need it, towns will support you. If that's the situation, you have a town, special meeting, and we're avoiding that.
Yep.
And this goes to perhaps get us to the end of the road, having you made it through a challenge fiscally that we've been fighting the whole year.
Yep.
I see this as a no-brainer.
Yes. Marianne?
I may have asked this previously.
No, it's okay.
So on the dashboard, I still see us projecting to come in within the budgeted expenditure. So this is seeking the authorization to use the revenue specifically for those lines because our cash flow situation by the end of June may, or even sooner, may necessitate that. And the reason the cash flow is an issue is that part of the revenue is much lower than the expenses because of the unassigned fund balance. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the unassigned fund balance wasn't all cash.
It's not all cash. A large majority of it is.
And that may run out before the end of the year.
Yes, I think you can think of it as like whatever you started with, whatever cushion was there, may run out before the end of the year. After we've taken in everything that we were expected to take in.
It's still,
Marion's
sorry, it's still hard to see that when our cash flow report is still showing
Agreed.
almost $10 million cash.
And there's
So
a large,
it's hard
to
people
see that, and then you need to start thinking about, there's a balloon payment at the end of the year,
Yeah.
which is 5 pay periods. All the extra stipends come due at the end of the year, so there are things that happen that are encumbered that don't necessarily happen at other months of the year. There's some timing. The end of the year is different.
But one of the things is that you already have these funds received, so they're sitting in the account, general fund, county purposes, it's for, its status is that you can't spend it. This would be income that would be reported in one of the MS forms that comes into DRA. So this cash is already sitting in the general fund.
As of March 31st.
Yep. And so for a cash flow purposes, there's no distinction between one year and the other. You have $100 bill in your bank account, it's $100 bill, period. Doesn't matter if it's this is all accounting mechanisms. Allowing you to spend it is what it allows us to
That's
do.
exactly what I'm requesting for
Yeah,
tonight.
but you don't need that. Why do you need that? If Marianne just pointed out that your expenses are showing that it's going to be less than what you're going to spend, and you already have this cash sitting in there, getting an authorization from us isn't going to
This
solve
cash is
anything.
included in the revenue that you're seeing there.
It's included in that $10 million
Thank you.
cash balance right now.
Okay.
But we can't spend it.
We can't,
Correct.
we can't spend $568,052 of it.
This is
Until-
proceed.
In this year,
Yes.
but it will come in as revenue, but it doesn't.
I think, Sean, because when we go to deliberative and you vote on it, it's raising and appropriate, which is authorizing up to a point. So that's why, like, for instance, people are like, oh, well, that department brings in X amount of revenue, so I'm gonna cut that budget by X amount of revenue. Well, if you don't authorize to expend up to that point, then it doesn't matter how much revenue comes in. You can't do it because you didn't authorize that expenditure. So the revenue on these lines, Maria and all of them said, this is what we are projecting. So we went to deliberative and people voted on it. They were authorizing up to that amount to expend. The reason we have to authorize it is because it has gone past what the voters authorized to expend. That's why it's very clear, it's very precise, it's a document that is governed by RSA that had to be approved by the budget committee and then has to be approved by us. Like, it is very specific. But that's the reason, because we didn't authorize for raise and appropriation of this extra funds. So it's a
Raise and
little,
appropriating portion of that is, yes, it's an expense that's done at deliberative, that was voted on.
right.
This is income. That's the other side of the
That's
ledger.
the appropriation part, the being able to expend, which on those forms, Maria puts in there, we're expecting X in tuition, X in this, X in that. We've gone above that. In years past, we didn't have to because we had that cushion. We don't have the cushion this year. So we have to authorize. So yes, it's sitting there. You're right, it's $100 bill. But because the voters did not say, yes, you could expend past that, this is why we're having to go through this. That's all it is. It's just a clerical, it's just literally a procedural thing. That's it. Marian, go ahead.
In the expend past that, isn't expend past the budget that was given. It's
the revenue
type of money.
It's the revenue.
the
Yes, ma'am.
revenue side.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the first sentence of this letter RSA wording specifically?
Again, recommended by the attorney.
Okay. So when it says expend funds in excess of the appropriation, which may result in an over expenditure of the total amount appropriated for all purposes. That says may result in going over the budget, not will result.
Correct.
And so it's still, we're still trying to work within the
We are
exact
still trying to
budget.
work within the
We
confines
just-
what the
yes.
voters have provided.
We just need permission to spend money that we have.
Correct. Pretty much. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Shauna.
And this procedural piece allows us to meet our legal obligations to special education students.
It will contribute $568,052 to the over expenditure that we've identified in those three pieces. Yes.
Yeah, Paul, go ahead.
And the actual RSA itself, it's the first item underneath that definition that you just, that the wording was taken from, is that we can't, unless this application is made prior to the making of those expenditures, we can't do it.
Correct.
It's saying, it's the first line, so you cannot spend, you can't do it unless this application is made, I imagine approved by the Commissioner of Revenue. Yeah, that's the second line.
Any other yeah.
This is
Sean, go ahead.
basically going to allow us that the expense portion of our budget that was approved, you're increasing it by this dollar amount, the sum of that.
May not.
Don't worry, I got a feeling you'll spend it.
Okay.
And I think we are clearly communicating that we have a need to spend it.
Any other discussion? All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? And abstain. Sean's the only one that opposed. Everyone else said yes. All right. Moving on. The general assurances. What
You
is
guys have
that?
this wonderful annual document in front of you that I would love to be able to describe to you because it needs to be written into the minutes.
Okay.
This is again an annual piece that comes from the New Hampshire Education Department, and it really is respective to those organizations that receive federal funds. The assurances are really broken up into three parts. A is just definitions. The second part are the general assurances. This is the meat of the document. I'm just going to summarize them for you. You can see that there are many listed there. Essentially, the summary here is that it gives us that allows us to be a legal authority to receive federal funds. It talks a little bit about the property and how we would manage those pieces. It allows us to ensure that we have safeguards about how we're managing those funds, and we've got the right grant management system in order to process and communicate with the state to meet their assurances. It allows us to constitute that we're going to meet specific timeframes. And it even goes as far as allowing us to making sure that we are compliant with the laboratory animal welfare for any warm-blooded animals that are here in the Timberlane Regional School District. So in a sense, it is mandating that we're going to comply with every piece of federal statute that's tied to federal funds. We do have a whole lot of federal funds that come into the school district. The largest is IDEA to support special education. And then we also have some title funds that come in and help support students and also some staff professional development. This is essentially us assuring that we are going to not only receive them legally, we're going to spend them in appropriate fashions and comply with all the monitoring processes that are involved with spending federal dollars.
Okay. Any questions about the assurances?
Make a motion for the minutes to reflect the superintendent has informed the board of the federal funds the district will be receiving and of the general assurances, requirements, and definitions for participation in the federal programs.
Motion by Shauna, do I have a second? Second. Second by Alyssa, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. And then there's one more I think has to authorize the board chair to.
Make a motion to authorize the school board chair to sign the fiscal year 26 general assurances on behalf of the Timberlane Regional School Board.
Motion by Shauna, seconded by Alyssa. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. All right. Administrator's report.
Hey, it's 9:42. Stick with us.
You're doing good.
Ginger's got some great things to share. Sandy's got some great things to share, and then I will close with some things as well.
Okay.
Start with me.
Please.
The first thing that I want to touch on just briefly, Cam, you brought up the speaker that's coming on the 21st, right?
Yes.
Of April. I just want to highlight that all the work that's been put into that week is Mental Health Week. This is the third one that's happening in the district. A lot of work and time been put together between school counselors, the health department at the high school. We've been able to collaborate at the elementary level so that we're also doing some activities so that across the district, we're really highlighting the importance of mental health across the district. So just want to kind of give a shout out for all the work that's been put into those activities coming up, and make sure that you're looking for information forthcoming, because there is both parent events as well as events for students. I also want to talk about two surveys that are coming up relative to the special education department. I want to highlight both of them, but also describe what they are, because they're coming kind of at the same time. And I want to make sure that families are aware of what they are, and that they don't confuse them as being the same thing. So the first, as I've talked about before, is we have a parent feedback session that's going to be a virtual session conducted by the Department of Education and the Parent Information Center. It'll be happening on May 18th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. It's an opportunity for families who actively have a student involved with the special education department within the district to participate in this session with those two agencies, just to give some feedback about how we're doing. There will be a series of questions that they have to get through in that hour time frame, but they will be asking for parents to chime in and provide that information, and then that will come to us as part of our PAGS audit. So that's another piece of the audit that's happening. Again, that's the once every 6-year audit that happens across the state. So this information will be posted on social media. We'll be sending an email blast out starting as early as tomorrow, because we just got the marketing materials. When families are in the schools for IEP meetings, we'll be giving a copy of this out to families as they're in the buildings attending meetings. It will also be posted in all the buildings. It's posted here at the SAU, and we plan to also post across the community. So we're hoping for a robust turnout. And some more to come on that. So that's this survey. And then, thank you, Dean. This is the flyer for the other survey that's sort of going on at the same time. This is a survey that is part of our LEA determination. It is a parent involvement survey that happens every year. Indicator 8, for anybody that knows anything about those indicators. This is a live survey. You can access through the QR code. It's a link. You can go in. It doesn't take very long to just answer a number of questions about parent involvement across the district relative to families who have a child that's involved in the special education department. This link will be open until May 8th. Again, we will be going through the same process of notifying families of their ability to access this survey in the same way we are the other feedback sessions. So that'll be going out IEP meetings, again, posted all over the place. But unfortunately, because they're happening at the same time, I'm concerned that families are going to get confused and just do one and not the other or whatnot. So I just wanted to take a minute to highlight two of those. They're both very, very important. The LEA determination, I'm going to get into in just a second, but indicator 8 is something that it's a metric that we're measured on in terms of the number of people that participate. It's not necessarily about the feedback, but the participation rate is important for us. So again, the more feedback and the information that we have, the better. So I just encourage people to jump on and take a few minutes and, provide us with the feedback. So lastly, what the last piece that I wanted to highlight is that every year the special education department is monitored by the Department of Education on some metric points that the state is also monitored on by the federal government. So I think it's the Office of, they're monitored by the Office of Special Ed Programs, and they kind of push those monitoring metrics down to the district level and look at those metrics across the course of the school year. It could be on it really is a range of data points, everything from when we start working with students at the age of 2.5 through child find processes and procedures, all the way through graduation and post-graduation. So there's a lot of data points in there that they take a look at, and basically districts are rated, given a 0, a 1, or a 2. And in this circumstance, you want zeros. You don't want a high score on LEA determination. We got our report for the 24-25 school year yesterday, and I am more than thrilled to come to the board tonight to report that the district meets the requirements for this LEA determination. That's actually the highest ranking that you can get for this. It doesn't sound very exciting, but it is the highest determination that you can get. In the last couple of years, we've been in the needs assistance category. There's been a lot of work that's been put into place through the special education department over the last few years to get us to where we are. Because this is really about systems change. It's about working across the buildings, across departments, to improve some of the ways that we function, so that we are making sure that we are doing the best we can to meet the needs of our students. I also just want to highlight that out of the 178 school districts across the state, only 39 districts met the meets requirements. So I'm very proud of all of the work that's been done. I will say I'm not taking any credit for that. This really goes out to the team. I wasn't part of any of this work. I really want to highlight everything that they have done, all the dedication, the commitment. It's really important work. It really benefits our kids. So thank you to everybody that's putting the time.
Yep, Jack.
I reject your assessment that you had nothing to do with that. Nice job.
Thank you. Anything else?
That is it for me tonight.
So much. Good job to you and your team. Sandy, you up?
I have 2 primary things. Just thank you, Cam, for talking about SATs. That happened last week, and mentioning the makeup day, which is, I believe, is next Wednesday. Just to let our community know and the board know, we talk a lot about student performance and proficiency rates. We are entering into assessment season, and so our families will be receiving in the next week or two, they should be receiving the state assessment letter with the schedule at each grade level and school of when those assessments will be administered. So that information is going out to families, along with the commissioner this year wrote a letter to families as well, talking about the importance of participation in state assessments, how those assessments are used at the state and local levels for us to try to drive improvements and monitor instruction. So all of that is happening, more to come on that. All of those results are related to how we as a district and districts across the state are measured against state and federal accountability. And so I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about an opportunity that's happening next week, not too far from our local community. Right now, the measures that are used at the state level to determine district compliance in the accountability system is really founded on proficiency, right? Proficiency rates. And at the high school level, that includes other factors such as college and career readiness, graduation rates. There are certain subgroup populations that are used where their data is counted, in some cases double or 3 times. So ELL, English language learners, and students who are identified as having IEPs or are on IEPs. Their data counts multiple times in the determination. There's a whole program that is built to determine the state accountability system. That said, what I wanted to give you a heads up on is that the state has engaged this year. They have a stakeholder team that has been identified as the State Accountability Task Force. That group has been working for just about a year to review our current accountability system at the state level and to examine and recommend changes to that system. They have, their work is posted publicly. I'm happy to share that link for you. It is available on the DOE website if you can dig into that. They're also engaging in a listening tour. So some of the changes that are on the table that are part of the report is they're looking to integrate along with outcomes. So think about learning outcomes that are measured through the state assessments, also looking at opportunities that are provided. So those could range from school climate surveys, the quality of curriculum, advanced learning coursework, educational extended learning opportunities, all of those other types of things that contribute to the quality of education that's provided in the district. That is something that they're factoring into the accountability system. What that looks like, I'm not sure yet, but that's up for conversation. Another component would be looking at a 6-year cycle of a self-study. It's somewhat, those of you who may be familiar with talk a lot about NEASC visits, and I'm looking at you, Dawn, because you experienced it at the high school level. The state, this accountability task force is considering instituting a 6-year self and peer review cycle to look at the quality of instruction that is provided to students and whether or not what districts provide is deemed adequate, right? Part of what constitutes an adequate education. The task force has committed that they would not approve that unless the state can confirm that there would be no cost, that this would not be an unfunded mandate. But those are some of the things that are up for conversation. If you are interested in learning more about this, I am not part of this work. I'm merely advertising it to you. There is a session next Tuesday, April 7th at 6 p.m. at Pinkerton Academy. That is the one that is most local to us in their lecture hall in the Academy building. So we will work on sending something out to our families as well for anyone who might be interested. There also will be another remote session that would be open to those individuals who can't attend in person. But they're holding 4 of these sessions around the state. One is in Keene, one is in Berlin, one happens to be in Derry, and the last one is in Concord. So I'm just keeping you all posted about some of the changes that are happening. We've talked a lot about the ED 306 rules that govern what constitutes the minimum requirements. This work is really looking at what constitutes an adequate education and how that's measured, and how districts are deemed to comply, be in need of improvement, or additional targeted support from the state level. So we will certainly keep you posted as those things develop at the state level.
Regarding SAT, do we know if we had an increase in student participation? Do we know
I'm
those
happy
numbers?
you asked that. So we, yes, got an email. Right now, we do have a list of students who were either absent or need to make it up. But I think right now, I don't want to be mistaken. I can pull up that data. I think we are around 83% right now, but we still have time for the makeup window, and we're trying to catch those kids who weren't there on the attendance on the day off. So working on it.
Sean and then Jack.
Do we have a number of the students or households that have refused to take the exam? Knowing that that's going to count as a 0 in our matrix.
We monitor that. That process is still, for the high school, that's closed because they took the SAT. They have not taken the state science assessment, but we monitor that. I believe at the high school level, if you give me a moment, I can find that. It is, I think at the high school, it is a small, fairly small number. Let me just see if I can find that quickly. Let's see.
If you don't have it readily available, that's fine.
5 students, 4 families completed the process. and one additional one that we were anticipating. So at this point at the high school level for SATs, it's a total of 5 students, but
That have refused to take it. Okay, so is it safe to say, Justin, is that those 5 are gonna be zeros in our, overall scores when we get them?
The way-
There's a threshold.
the way that works, so we're required to meet 95% participation. Anything below 95% counts as zeros. So with 5 students out of a class of 250-ish students, those would not presumably, right? If everyone else takes it, likely would not count as zeros because presumably we would meet 95%. Attendance and things like that impact as well. So we have some students who were absent that day, those types of things. So.
Okay, so then when we took them last year, what was our participation rate?
We met 95% at all levels with the exception of the high school. I believe we were in the 80s. I can pull that up. That presentation I presented a few months ago. But.
So if you're at 80-something%, whatever that is, that delta from, what is it, from 95%? I mean, how does that work? I mean, from 95% to, say it's 88, that's 7 point.
Yes.
Every one of those is counted as a zero in our overall
So you
assessment.
think about it two ways. You are
That's
not
accurate.
counted in the percentage if you opt out, or if you just don't show up, or if you don't show up for makeups. You're counted towards a non-participatory percentage.
Which then hits you as a zero.
And then as soon as you meet that threshold, those begin to accumulate as zeros.
So we're all right until we get listed with the 95, but I think Jack had something in mind.
Yeah, never mind.
Okay.
I'm good. So last meeting when we'd spoken about this, we talked about trying to address those students who may have taken the exam, but every answer is a B somehow, and they just rush through it, and that certainly does not help our scores at all. Do you have, or would you be able to in the future provide us with an update on some of the inventive ways that they were looking at trying to encourage students to take that more seriously?
Sure. Yes. The high school team was working on that for SATs. And I know the middle school as well is working on something.
He's a good answer, but not every time, right?
Hey, you got a 25% chance of getting it right.
I go with C.
I do B. I'm a B person. Shandy, thank you.
Sure.
Justin?
Stick with me. Budget committee update. They met for the reorg meeting last Thursday. Want to communicate to the board that they did elect a chair. The chair of the budget committee this year will be Sue Sherman. They also elected a vice chair. The vice chair of the budget committee this year will be Karen White. And they also made an appointment to the CIP committee, and that representative will be Ryan Lebrecht, who will have a seat on the CIP committee. We gave them a financial package that evening. You have the same financial package in front of you this evening. I think, Sean, you've been looking at some of those, but it's the larger sheets there. We want everyone meeting, starting with kind of the same makeup. This is information that all of you have seen before, but we just wanted to be sure that we reiterated the same message we did the BudCom, is that as you're looking at this, it's there to encourage questions, to be able to generate some discussion down the road. So there is a lot of detailed information, both high level and at the deeper level there for you to dive into and learn more about the finances of the school district. So we hope it encourages conversation. The largest part of the budget committee that I wanted to share with the board tonight is some recommendations that I made to the committee around the schedule. They have set their schedule. They have those dates that are in place, but I've asked them to think about a few things. The first thing I've asked them to think about is this idea of a more collaborative effort with the school board. In my view, when the board was there and you had that substantial conversation, there was some work that got done. I like to see more of those opportunities for joint meetings. The other piece that I brought up was just around the order of presentations. We begin with principals and directors that take maybe a month or a month and a half to run through, and that equates to about 25% of the total budget. And then we are deferring until late October or November to talk about personnel, which is 75%. I like to invert that formula this year. I like to work with Maria earlier and get a personnel report out earlier. The challenge there is that we don't have the health insurance number until October, but I think we are very cognizant that we could run some models and at least give the budget committee a ballpark of where that personnel number may be. The other things that I've encouraged them to do is to be meeting with principals and directors through the year and organizing those meetings through me. I'm going to try to incorporate some ideas of people that are making the decisions about the money, talking with the administrators on the ground that are actually administrating the schools. I'm hoping there's some learning that happens there. And I'm also going to certainly invite them to the Board of Selectmen meetings that I'm going to as well as participants with me or as just spectators and listeners. So what they've charged me to do is take those ideas, they're in favor of them, and they want me to be able to draft a schedule that's reflective of that. So really more time with the board and inverting those percentages or presentations about personnel and departments or schools. So present that to you here. If you have any feedback that you want to share with me before I'm drafting that schedule for them and potentially for you, please feel free to do that. Their first and next meeting is September 10th. So we've got some ways to kind of frame out and what that framework is going to look like. My goal would be to have a schedule to them certainly before the end of the school year, preferably at the outset of June. Any feedback before then would be helpful. Questions or thoughts about anything about the budget committee before moving on?
I'll just say that the budget committee was very, that they were eager and wanting us to meet with them more than just the one time that they do. They feel like it was a very informative and very collaborative effort. So they would like to at least one more, if not two more.
Two quick updates on CBAs. We did receive the notice to start bargaining with the TTA. Again, that's our teachers union. So we're going to start moving in that direction. Also wanted to notify the board that we have a response from the TAU. As you know, that contract was voted down as the CBA in the warrant. The special meeting was approved. It is on behalf or the onus of the TAU to make some movement about what they want to do. They've expressed an interest to go back to the negotiating table to at least explore any potential possibility of renegotiating an agreement. If that would happen, what would we do is the district would vote or the board would vote to consider a special meeting, and then we would look to organize that special meeting in the school district. The timing for that recommended that we would try to shoot for that before the end of the school year or allow summer to go by and then wait for the beginning of the next school year. We should not be scheduling a special meeting during the summer months when we may not be able to draw the contingency there. But wanted to make it clear, this is the TAU signaling they want to get back and see if there's a possibility. It doesn't mean that the whole process will get brought to fruition. Lastly, about open enrollment, I gave some financials in terms of what would it mean for the district in terms of 1% or 3% students leaving. Just to give an opportunity for the board, I'm going to give you the entire SAU data points from the state of New Hampshire, so all school districts, what they had in their warrant, whether they had an open enrollment warrant, whether it passed or not, and any details about it. It will just give you a really good snapshot of kind of where the state stands as we do our own thinking and discussion, certainly over the course of this next year. A couple of previews. I'm really excited to bring Mark Pedersen back at a future board meeting. I've learned a lot about AP scores over the course of the last 2 months, and specifically how Timberlane ranks up against what New Hampshire has released against those. I think it's really important we look at that data, and I think there's some really great things to celebrate there. So I want to bring that back. So look for that in the next month or two. Also want to remind the board, April 20th, Career Expo at the high school. All of you have done cool things in your lives as board members. This is an awesome opportunity to get there and interact with kids. You don't know what's going to spark some interest in whatever pathway is going to mark it out. So the more adults that we can get there that can have an opportunity to talk to young people about how we ended up where we ended up, because it's not always kind of a straight linear path, that can really mean some things to kids. So encouraging the board, if you've got the availability that day, I think you would find that experience really meaningful. May 7th reminder for you, it is a board meeting. We'll be in the PAC that evening. We're looking to scale back kind of the retirement section, but we're going to be honoring the Timberlane retirees that evening as part of the board meeting at the PAC. That was something we had talked about in the fall. Also at that meeting, I think we're going to be ready to have Ken Henderson join us, and he really wants to walk through and highlight some of the revamp to the website for the board and for the public. So in preparation for that, if there's something that you want to see that evening about the website as a board member, or that you're hearing from your constituents that they want to see or they want to be able to learn from, please share that with us. Ken will be absolutely sure to tie it in his presentation. I want to also say that I had a chance to meet with Marianne and Sean as the Danville reps, school board members last Friday. I think we met for 2 hours or 2 hours plus. It was a really, really good time spent, and it has made me think an awful lot about this is something I think and I would encourage towns to do with me on some sort of regular, whether it's a quarterly or biannual basis. The meeting was targeted. Sean and Marianne had some things they wanted to look at. I had some time to prepare some information and some data. I could share that beforehand. We could spend some time talking about that. And then that leads to other conversations. So I came away with that thinking that all that did was build understanding, and that allows us to function better as a district. So Atkinson and Plastow and Sandown, if you folks are interested in doing things like that, I think it can be a really meaningful opportunity for us to learn together and to be able to share information that can make these meetings even more effective. So really appreciated that time. Two clerical things to end with. You all have an email address that's linked to the Timberlane Regional School District Board group email. Before you leave here tonight, please visit me at my table. Please verify with me that I've got your right email address and that you're receiving these group emails. I'm going to go through and kind of just check them off. And lastly, I just want to remind the board, I'm meeting with Senator Gannon tomorrow up at the Epping School District. Regional superintendents are going to be meeting with him, talking about education legislation, and I'm happy to report back things I learned from the senator and things that we're able to share as we move through the school year.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, nice. Moving on to personnel report, we have some resignations, and I believe Ms. Fran's here for some renomination list. Is that correct? Yes. All right, Shauna, let's do the resignations first. We can do one big motion.
Make a motion to approve the professional resignations of the following. Michael McLaughlin, school counselor, Timberlane Middle School. Brooke Burns, Spanish teacher, Timberlane High School. Jackson Dupuis, science teacher, Timberlane High School. Katie Coppola, special education teacher, Timberlane High School. Lalit Saini, science teacher, Timberlane High School. My screen just went blank. And Maya Schipoletti,
Nice job.
Very good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
elementary teacher, Pollard Elementary.
Got a motion by Shauna. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Alyssa. Any other discussion? Oh, God, mine did the same thing. All those in favor? Opposed and abstained. Everybody said. All right, Fran.
So at this time here, we'll be due renominations of professional staff. And so in front of you, you have all the nominations for professional staff for the 26-27 school year that we need to make a motion.
Okay. So there is a recommended motion to accept the renominations as presented in the renomination report dated April 2nd, 2026.
I'll second that.
I made the motion. Mark seconded. Any discussion on the renomination? All right, all those in favor? Opposed and abstained, unanimous. Is there anything else you need to add, Fran, or is that it?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you so much. Great. Committee report, start with Jack.
Yeah, two things. One, there's gonna be a special guest outside the academy tomorrow morning at 8:00, which I hope everyone tries to attend and join us. Somebody I know.
Mr. Bunny?
And then I had an opportunity, was it last week, Justin, to go up and testify before the state senate on Senate bill, 1066 off the top of my head. It was around leasing, and there's an attempt, 1066 basically wants to restrict it, wants to change it, wants to change the amounts, and make it reach different thresholds. I find the bill a little disingenuous, but that's my opinion on it. I did get the superintendent from Rochester was there. It was a lot of lobbying groups, but I was able to explain some of the benefits, some of the things we were able to achieve, and I think primarily I summed it up like this, and I'll sum it up to everyone here. I was at a historical event 3 or 4 weeks ago, and a teacher came up to me and said, "Jack, this is the first year I haven't had to wear my jacket in high school. It's because of the windows, because of the boilers." And, you know, you can equate how much oil we save, but what you can't equate is the improved teaching environment and the improved learning environment, right? So when you're more comfortable, you're gonna perform better, both as a teacher and as a student. So that's hard to quantify, but what I will tell you is that overwhelmingly, I think the people that testified on against the bill. So I think that's gonna fall into the abyss off the top of my head, but it was interesting to watch the process and listen to the folks, so that was good.
John?
Yeah, just kind of a positive note as well. I've been out with the track team a few times in the last couple of weeks, and the middle school had 130 kids out for track. And the high school has a good turnout too, and that it's just so glad that the track is getting well used. Now, I didn't anticipate that we would have that type of a turnout at both schools. But well, the field events going, now we have pole vault started for the first time in about 10 years. I think it's just marvelous that the kids are showing up and the coaching staff is, you know, the problems they're having, the problems that they want to have, you know.
So yeah, so Justin covered the budget committee stuff. The one thing that did want to mention is that board preps for us are the Monday, the week before the board meeting, and that's when we set the agenda, get the documents, and it's at Mondays at 11. Me and Mark talked. We're thinking about we're going to open up a third spot. There's been board members that have participated in the past where it's more than two of us, so we're opening up a third spot to rotate through. So if you're interested in wanting to attend the board preps, please email me and Mark. Kelly will send out invitations to those so that you guys can be a part of that and see some more stuff that's going on within the district. Mark?
All set.
Sean?
Wellness Committee meets on Wednesday, April 8th, 4 p.m. here in the boardroom. And I do need to ask, Ginger and I haven't had a chance to touch base about the agenda, but do you foresee any actionable items? Because I am the only board member currently serving on that committee, and we would need a second board member present.
What time is it?
4 p.m. Is anyone available to come?
What day?
Wednesday,
This Wednesday?
April 8th, 4 p.m.
My computer just died. so
Oh, okay.
can't
I know,
even
we're all
look at
having,
this.
and connection issues. So I put that to the board. We would need two board members, and Bree is no longer with us, so I am solo, so we would need another person.
What's the committee? I'm sorry.
Wellness.
I might be available.
I'm so gonna text you tomorrow and harass you until you answer
Call
me.
my wife, she'll make me.
Oh, I will call her.
Yes,
That's fine.
check
I'll
on
take care of it. Me and Renee will get it on your schedule.
Agenda too, and I'll let you
I
know.
think there is, that's why I'm saying it. So anyways, that's the only update I have.
Alyssa?
No update.
Paul?
No update.
Mary Ann?
Just curriculum and assessment met, was it yesterday?
Yes.
But a long day. What will be forthcoming to the board is math competencies K-12, which is very interesting to me as a former math teacher. And we also looked at PE curriculum revisions, and those are the highlights.
Thank
Oh, we approved the rhetoric, public speaking, incorporating the logic and rhetoric requirements.
Thank you. It's a mouthful.
No, Mike, you didn't say that last time either.
Sean? Nothing. All right. Any other business at this time? Jack, then Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
April 14th, we do have a facilities meeting. I know Paul's putting that in his calendar. I neglected to.
I'll let Renee know that one too.
Yeah. Oh, wait, 14th? I'll be in Arkansas, I believe.
And perhaps this is new business, perhaps not. Just wanted to circle back. There has been some discussion about the timing of when we've had the audit, and we had a great presentation the last meeting. Wanting some clarification of visibility as to the timing, why it is timed the way it is, in relationship to deliberative. Should it be before, after? Is this regulated by RSA, or could you provide some insight?
Yep, it is absolutely dependent upon the speed at which the auditors can work. The district's responsibilities are typically having an on-site visit that can last up to 5 days. Usually here it's 2 or 3 days because we're well prepared for it. And that work is done well in advance of the date that it needs to be done. In Timberlane, we typically have the audit delivered to us prior to the March vote. In the last 4 years, it's been able to happen that way. There are absolutely changes here across the board for federal grants that held up audits across the state. So it's not that there's a delay. We have an anticipated date about when it's going to happen, and then we're subject to when the auditors can do their work to get it done. We're essentially, Mark, we're contracting with an agency to do work that we are responsible for a very small piece of it, and then that timeline is certainly up to the people doing the work.
Jack.
Yeah, so I have two things here. The first one is about screens versus paper, I'd like to make a motion that at our next meeting, that if the administration can put together, you know, I see Ken Henderson, I see both Sandy and you, I see, you know, time is our enemy here. And I just have, I mean, I've been doing all kinds of research over the last month, and I just have a brief thing I want to read, and I hate doing it off the phone, but oh well. The research is increasingly clear. Studies across multiple countries and hundreds of thousands of students show that reading comprehension is consistently lower when students read on screens compared to on paper. This particularly is true with the younger grades when foundational literacy skills are developing. Screens change behavior. They encourage scanning rather than deep reading, reduce attention spans, and introduce consistent opportunities for distraction. Even more concerning, students are using screens, often overestimate their understanding, which can lead to learning gaps until it's too late. This isn't about being anti-technology. It's a tool that, you know, we're going to incorporate in our learning. But the more and more I listen to some testimony before Congress, I listened to another gentleman talk about how the brain works, and it is overwhelming that I think we need to get away and limit the amount of screen time. But I want to hear from the professionals, Sandy, Ken, what we can do, what makes sense, and do some research as a group. Even maybe, I don't want to say put together a subcommittee, but that kind of is a thought, because it's just, I mean, Sweden, one of the on candidates nights, one of the questions was, what do you think about Sweden getting rid of their computers completely? And all of that was based off of, if I remember correctly, the proficiency rates in Europe. So I think we should be, I think all things are on the table when it comes to improving these types of things. So that's.
Is that AI you used to get that information?
No, actually, it was Facebook, and I was watching a show. That's what got the ball rolling.
So this is something that you and I had spoken about. You sent me some of the articles and the links. And I think we had discussed that a pathway forward perhaps would be to have somebody, Justin can determine who, Sandy or whomever, look into what the research is and what the data suggests and report back to this group. Was that your motion, or is that what you're attempting to do?
Yeah, but I think you and I we agree on we need to do the research and we need to look into it. I think the time frame is maybe where we may or may not disagree. I just don't see putting this isn't like facilities where you can put it off and, well, as long as the wall doesn't fall, we're okay. This is something I think if it improves our students, it's something we should do immediately, as long as we know it's going to be positive and effective. And that, oh, by the way, doesn't happen. I even realize this isn't something you say, okay, let's do it, and you implement it overnight. I get it. But we should have a plan. We should have a strategy moving forward based on that data. And then well, that was a motion. So can we?
That's why I didn't know what the motion was. I was trying to.
So the motion was to have Justin, do you think next meeting or the following? I know you're going to say the following meeting, but I ain't going to give you much more rope than that.
How quality do you want the information, Jack? I think 2 weeks.
Well, I was able to come up with a ton of stuff by myself, and I ain't the brightest bulb in the room. So, yeah, you know what? 4 weeks. There's 4 weeks. 2 meetings from now. Does that work?
So what are you wanting?
2 meetings.
I want the research. I want a general discussion based on what the administration comes up with, what may be actionable.
Could I make a suggestion?
Yeah, you sure can.
Could maybe the board set an agenda item to have an exploratory conversation about where all of you feel about this right now, and do your own research, bring some positions? That may help guide what we may need to go back and
I'll make
figure
that
out.
motion, and it's for the next meeting.
Yeah. I just can't,
Let's have it.
I in a week was able to come up with, I'm just sitting there saying, oh my God, this is low hanging fruit. It's indisputable. It's where the science takes us. It's how the brain works. I just can't see. This is this isn't our job. Our job is to direct the administration to do this, but again, I'm trying to be fair
So is
and
the will of the
balanced.
board to set an agenda item for next meeting to explore whether or not to go back, to get away from Chromebooks and, or go back to paper?
No,
Is that what it is?
No, he's
that's not
suggesting.
it.
The
bring-
research, to
bring-
have a,
yes,
have a
data
talk,
forward,
that's what I'm
yes,
saying.
yes.
Have a discussion.
Yes.
Yes,
to
so
have
in
the
other words, I
discussion.
want, in a perfect world, Justin to say, oh my God, Jack is the smartest guy. He came up with this great idea. And this is where, this is the direction because it makes sense. And here's what we found. I want them for the next month to do a fact-finding mission on is it everything that I've been reading and I've been hearing and I've listened to congressional hearings on this where experts get up and say exactly what I just said in a more concise
The
form.
cons of both sides of the argument.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not,
I'll make a friendly amendment to Jack's
there's nothing friendly about it.
motion. 2 meetings from now as an agenda item for us to bring forth, for us to do our research and to have the administration bring forth data that they have accumulated so that we can have a discussion.
Bingo.
All right, cool. Mark made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jack seconded. So it's in 2 meetings to discuss.
Correct.
Okay. Marianne.
So, well, 2 questions is I would love to receive your research as a starting point. So, if we're
To
gonna have a
everybody.
discussion, rather than starting
No,
from
that's-
scratch for the search,
right,
why
yeah.
not?
No,
And secondly, I think the time frame. I think we were talking about having an exploratory meeting first and then getting information from the district after we've.
That
had
would
the discussion.
greatly
I'm not
assist with
interested in that.
efficiency.
here's the thing. I already see the bobbing and I don't know how other way to put it, the bobbing and weaving. It's real simple. Go out, and if every board member wants to find, I'll be happy to share with everybody what I found. It's not that hard to find because I was able to do it. And I want to hear what the experts, and I do consider them experts, come back with. You okay, Katie?
No, I've got a splitting headache.
Okay.
All right, motion's been made in second. Shauna?
I understand the motion. I agree with bringing some information together collectively as a group and having a thoughtful discussion. I want to give our experts some time to do that. I mean, there's a curriculum and assessment committee meeting. We just had one, but it's potential that they could put it on the agenda for the May meeting to help with that. Like, do we have to turn this around in 2 weeks or can we maybe shoot for the 4?
Understand.
4 weeks. I said 2 meetings.
Oh, 2 meetings. I'm sorry, I heard
And
2 weeks.
This
Sorry.
isn't like, my whole point is, let's find out what we find out. And this isn't about taking an action plan.
I
for
understand
changing
what you're saying.
curriculum.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. So I just wanted to give this its due time.
I understand. And the only other thing that I have.
Well, we've
Well, I
not,
said
we've not
let's-
voted
Oh,
on your
okay,
motion.
I'm sorry. I
All right,
apologize.
motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. All those opposed? All those abstaining? 2, 4. Motion fails. All right. Next,
Wait, how does the motion fail? These were abstains.
because
Yeah,
it has to be a majority.
No, it has to be a majority of those that abstain is a motion that you go with
Goes
the
with
will
the
of the voter.
majority.
This motion carries.
Yeah, no, it does. Yes.
I will check procedural, but at the time, the motion has failed.
No, I disagree. I want it on the record right now that.
Point of order, the way that works is if you abstain, it goes with the majority vote. So if the majority vote was no, all those abstentions would turn into negative votes. And vice versa.
No, an abstain does not count as either a yes or no.
So yes, correct. That's what I'm saying. So it's a yes and then a no. And the only thing that.
However, it still counts towards quorum. Meaning the person's still considered present.
You have to have 5.
It means the majority.
Yeah, so,
Yes, it does pass.
You
oh,
need
it
a
does
quorum
pass.
to have the
Okay,
meeting.
yeah, you're fine. That's fine. Under Robert's Rules of Order, the motion passes because an abstain is a non-vote rather than a no vote.
Correct.
All right, that's fine. I don't care. All right, so it does pass. So in 2,
Could you read back the motion for us, Linda?
Please.
Hardest question to answer.
I just want to know what to do.
Yeah,
think you need to do anything yet. It was, it's just 2 meetings from now, to get this on the agenda, and to bring forth, to discuss.
With the found research that everyone compiled, so we can have.
But the board was going to be doing their research.
Yes.
And then you'll have your discussion, and then that would give the administration.
And the administration.
The intention, perhaps I didn't verbalize it appropriately, is for all of us to do our research, come back 2 meetings from now, including findings from the administration so that they can have their perspective weighed as well.
I thought it was very clear. I agree with what you were saying. The board should always be prepared.
It's a first.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have another one.
So.
Do you want me to read it?
Nope, that's clear.
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, what was your next thing, Jack?
Yeah, the next thing is around Title IX, and just to affirm that by Executive Order 14201, that we're in compliance, and I'd like for the policy committee to bring that up. I don't know when the next policy meeting is, but
Met today.
is that?
It met today.
So next policy meeting, if they can address this, I was gonna do this in a motion, but I'm not going to because you've got a headache, and
I appreciate that.
so, yeah. So, but Sandy, I'll pass this on. Who else is on? I'll give this to you.
And
I'll
Dawn.
give this to
Just give it to Dawn.
There we go. Let me make sure I don't give you too much.
All right.
There
Any
you go.
other business at this time? Cool. We do have to go into non-public real fast.
I make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A:3 subparagraph C.
Do I have a motion to have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Could I get a roll call vote?
What was the number that we were going under? What was it?
3C.
C.
Yes, sorry.
Doug Woodward,
Yes.
Yes.
Mark Sherwood, Donna Manthorn,
Yes.
Elizabeth Walson, Paula Kane, Darren Springer, and Michael Bell.